A slap echoed through the restaurant like a gunshot. The billionaire heiress stood over the fallen waitress, diamond rings glinting in candlelight. Blood trickled from split skin. Manhattan's elite watched in silence until the most dangerous man in the room rose from his table. Lucian Varick didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. What he did next would shatter empires, break engagements, and trap one desperate woman in a gilded cage she'd never escape. This is the story of how survival became captivity, and captivity became something far more terrifying. Stay until the end. Like this video. Comment what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The first thing Arya Kincaid learned about working at Aurelius was that rich people didn't see you. They looked through you, past you, around you like you were furniture that happened to carry plates. She'd been a server there for 3 months, long enough to know which tables tipped and which ones treated you like dirt beneath their $1,000 shoes. Long enough to memorize the wine list in 4 languages she barely spoke. Long enough to perfect the invisible smile. Polite, empty, forgettable. Tonight was supposed to be simple. In and out, smile, serve, survive. It never worked out that way. The restaurant occupied the top floor of a building that cost more than most towns. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Manhattan like a kingdom, all glittering lights and dark water. Inside, candles flickered on white tablecloths. Crystal sang against crystal. The air smelled like money and rosemary and something else. Something sharp. Desperation, maybe. The kind that came from people fighting to keep what they had. Arya moved through the dining room with practiced efficiency, balancing a tray of champagne flutes. Her feet ached in the required heels. Her uniform, black dress, white apron, hair pulled back so tight it gave her headaches, felt like a costume. Like she was playing a part in someone else's story. Table 7 was her problem tonight. Victoria Ashford sat there like a queen holding court, blonde hair swept up in a style that probably cost what Arya made in a week. Diamonds dripped from her ears, her throat, her wrists. Everything about her screamed old money and new cruelty. She'd sent back 3 bottles of wine already, each time with a different complaint. Too warm, too cold. Wrong year. Arya knew the game. It wasn't about the wine. Finally, Victoria's voice cut across the murmur of conversation. She didn't look up from her phone. I've been waiting for 10 minutes. It had been 3. Arya had timed it. My apologies, Miss Ashford. The words tasted like ash. Your appetizers. She set down the plates with mechanical precision. Seared scallops. Heirloom tomatoes that cost $40. Food these people would photograph and barely touch. Victoria's fingers, tipped in blood-red polish, waved dismissively. This is cold. I just brought it from... Are you arguing with me? Arya's jaw tightened. She could feel eyes on them now. Other tables pretending not to watch. The manager hovering near the kitchen door, his expression a warning. Don't make a scene. We can't afford to lose this table. No, ma'am. I'll have the kitchen prepare a fresh plate. You'll do more than that. Victoria finally looked up, and her smile was a blade. You'll learn your place. The words hung there, venomous. Arya reached for the plate. Her hands were steady. They had to be. She'd spent too many nights in hospital waiting rooms, holding her brother's hand while machines beeped and doctors delivered bad news in soft voices. She'd learned to swallow rage, to smile through humiliation, to bend without breaking. But everyone had a limit. As she lifted the plate, Victoria's hand shot out. Not to stop her, to push. The plate tilted. Sauce. Some expensive reduction that probably had a French name, spilled across the white tablecloth. Drops hit Victoria's dress, dark spots blooming on pale silk. You clumsy little... Victoria stood so fast her chair scraped. Do you have any idea what this dress costs? It was an accident. Arya's voice came out strangled. You pushed... I pushed? I pushed? Victoria's laugh was sharp enough to draw blood. You're saying I damaged my own clothing? That I... The slap came out of nowhere. Arya's head snapped to the side, the crack of impact silencing the entire restaurant. Her cheek exploded in heat. Her ears rang. For a second, she couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but stand there while her face burned and her eyes watered, and every person in that room watched her humiliation. Victoria stood over her, breathing hard, diamonds catching the light. Know your place, sweetheart. Arya's knees hit the floor. She didn't remember falling. The carpet was soft, expensive, probably cost more per square foot than her entire apartment. Blood pooled in her mouth where she'd bitten her tongue, the taste of copper mixed with shame. Get up, she told herself. Get up and walk away. You need this job. You need the money. Michael needs the money. But her body wouldn't obey. Shock held her frozen, kneeling among shattered porcelain and spilled wine while Manhattan's elite returned to their conversations, their meals, their lives. Already forgetting she existed. Then a chair moved. Not scraped, not knocked. Moved with deliberate precision, the sound cutting through the ambient noise like a knife. Arya looked up through blurred vision. A man stood at table 12, the corner booth that always stayed reserved even when it was empty. She'd served him exactly once, 3 weeks ago. He'd ordered in a voice like gravel and left a tip that covered her rent. She'd tried not to stare then. She was staring now. Lucien Varick didn't look like the other men in the room. They wore their wealth like armor, designer suits, perfect hair, practiced smiles. He wore his like a weapon. The suit was black, perfectly tailored, but it moved with him like a second skin. Dark hair pushed back from a face that was all sharp angles and harder edges. Eyes so dark they looked black in the candlelight. He didn't walk to table 7. He moved like violence compressed into stillness, every step controlled, purposeful. The room reacted before he even spoke. Conversations died. Forks paused halfway to mouths. The temperature dropped. Victoria noticed too late. Mr. Varick. Her voice changed, all that cruelty smoothing into something sweeter, calculated. I was just dealing with a clumsy, sit down. 2 words, quiet, absolute. Victoria sat. Lucien stopped beside Arya, close enough that she could see the thread count on his sleeve, smell something expensive and clean. He didn't look down at her, didn't acknowledge her at all. His focus stayed fixed on Victoria, and the weight of it made the heiress shrink in her seat. You're wearing my ring, he said. Victoria's hand moved instinctively to the diamond on her left finger. Huge, ostentatious. The kind of rock that came with contracts and expectations and merger clauses. Yes. She tried to smile. Of course. Take it off. Silence crashed over the room. Arya could hear her own heartbeat, ragged and too fast. Could feel blood still seeping from her split lip. Could see Victoria's face drain of color, all that practiced composure cracking. Lucien, I don't understand. The ring. His voice never changed volume, never sharpened. That somehow made it worse. Remove it. Now. Victoria's fingers trembled as she twisted the band. It stuck, swollen knuckles, or maybe just panic, and she had to work it back and forth, her breath coming faster. When it finally came free, she held it out like an offering. Lucien didn't take it. Put it on the table. She set it down carefully, as if sudden movements might trigger something terrible. The diamond caught the light, throwing tiny rainbows across blood-spattered china. You don't get to wear that, Lucien said. Not anymore. Because of this? Victoria gestured at Arya without looking at her. Because of some accident with a server? Lucien, be reasonable. Reasonable. He tested the word, didn't like the taste. You struck someone weaker than you, someone who couldn't fight back. You did it for entertainment, in front of witnesses, because you thought your last name and that ring made you untouchable. His head tilted slightly. Do you know what that makes you? Victoria opened her mouth, closed it. Weak, Lucien finished. Cowardly. Exactly the kind of person I don't ally myself with. Our families don't interest me anymore. He turned then, finally, and held out a hand to Arya. Stand up. She stared at his palm. Strong fingers, no rings, scars across the knuckles like he'd learned to fight with his fists instead of lawyers. Don't, her brain whispered. Whatever this is, don't get involved. But she was already involved. The moment that slap connected, the moment she hit the floor, she'd been pulled into something she didn't understand. And this man, this stranger who radiated danger like heat off asphalt, was offering a hand up. She took it. His grip was firm, warm, carefully controlled. He pulled her to her feet with enough force to steady her, but not enough to hurt. Up close, she could see details the candlelight had hidden. A thin scar through his left eyebrow, shadows under his eyes that spoke of sleepless nights, the kind of exhaustion that came from carrying weight no one else could see. He released her hand immediately. What's your name? He asked. Arya. Her voice cracked. She cleared her throat, tasted blood. Arya Kincaid. He nodded once, filing it away. Then he looked at the manager, who'd materialized nearby wearing an expression of pure terror. She's leaving with me, Lucian said. Pay her out for the rest of the month. Add a bonus. Call it hazard pay. Mr. Varick, I'm sure we can resolve... I'm not negotiating. Lucian's attention swung back to Victoria, who sat frozen in her chair like prey pinned by a predator. You have 48 hours to remove your things from my properties. After that, security handles it. Are we clear? Victoria's mouth worked soundlessly. Then, in a voice Arya almost didn't recognize, small, broken, she whispered, We're engaged. We were. Lucian picked up the ring, held it to the light. The diamond was flawless, probably cost 6 figures. He set it down in the middle of the ruined tablecloth. Consider this severance. Sell it, keep it, I don't care. But if I see you wearing my name again, we'll have a different conversation. One you won't enjoy. He turned away, dismissing her completely. His hand touched Arya's elbow, not grabbing, just guiding. A suggestion more than a command. Come on. Arya's feet moved automatically. She didn't remember deciding to walk, didn't remember passing through the restaurant, didn't remember the stairs that followed them like searchlights. Her mind was static, shock and confusion, and the lingering sting of that slap all mixing together. They stopped at the coat check. Lucian didn't say anything, just looked at the attendant, who immediately scrambled to find Arya's jacket. It was threadbare, patched at the elbows. Nothing like the furs and cashmere the other patrons claimed. She'd bought it at a thrift store 3 years ago. When she reached for it, Lucien took it first, held it open. Waiting. She turned, slipped her arms through the sleeves. His fingers brushed her shoulders as he settled it into place, and she flinched, couldn't help it. He stepped back immediately, hands raised slightly. I'm not going to hurt you, he said quietly. I don't know what you're going to do. The words came out sharper than intended. I don't know you. No. Something flickered in his expression, not quite a smile. But you will. The elevator ride down was silent. Mirrored walls reflected them back in infinite repetitions, her face swelling where Victoria's rings had cut, his profile carved from stone. The numbers descended. 53, 47, 32. Arya's thoughts raced. What are you doing? Where's he taking you? Why did he do that? What does he want? Men like him didn't save waitresses out of kindness. Everyone wanted something. The lobby was all marble and gold, empty except for security guards who straightened when Lucien appeared. He didn't acknowledge them. Outside, a car waited, black, sleek, windows tinted dark enough to hide anything. The driver opened the door without being asked. Get in, Lucien said. Arya's feet planted themselves. Where are we going? Hospital. Your face needs looking at. I'm fine. You're bleeding through your teeth. His eyes met hers, and there was something in them that wasn't quite cold. Wasn't quite warm either. Get in the car, Arya, or walk away. Your choice. That was the problem. It didn't feel like a choice. It felt like standing at a cliff edge with fire behind and water below. Jump or burn, but either way, the fall was coming. She got in the car. The interior smelled like leather and something subtle, expensive. The seats were soft enough to sink into. Lucien folded himself in beside her, and the driver closed the door, sealing them in darkness before the engine purred to life. They pulled into traffic, Manhattan sliding past in streams of light and shadow. Why did you do that? Arya asked finally. Her voice sounded small in the enclosed space. Do what? End your engagement. For me. You don't even know me. Lucien was quiet for a long moment, looking out the window at the city he apparently owned pieces of. When he spoke, his voice was thoughtful, distant. I know exactly who you are, Arya Kincaid. 26 years old, Brooklyn native, 6 months behind on rent. You work 3 jobs. Server, overnight stock at a grocery store, weekend shifts at a pharmacy. Your brother Michael is 22, diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia 8 months ago, currently receiving treatment at Metropolitan General. You visit him every Tuesday and Thursday after your day shift ends. You take the subway because you can't afford a car. You eat 1 meal a day so you can afford his medication copays. The words hit like physical blows. Arya's breath caught. Your mother died when you were 17, Lucian continued, still not looking at her. Your father's location is unknown. You've been Michael's legal guardian for 9 years. You're drowning in medical debt. The hospital sends letters you don't open anymore because you already know what they say. He turned then, finally, and his eyes found hers in the darkness. So no, Arya, I don't know you, but I know your life. Every piece of it. Her hands were shaking. How? Because I make it my business to know things about people who interest me. I'm a waitress. Her voice cracked. I served you wine once. How does that... You didn't flinch. The words were soft, almost absent, like he was working through a puzzle. 3 weeks ago, when I came in, you poured my drink, and your hand was steady even though you recognized me, even though you'd heard the stories. His head tilted. Most people shake. Most people can't meet my eyes. You did both. That's not... Arya's chest felt tight. That doesn't explain stalking me. Due diligence. He said it like it was reasonable, normal. I needed to understand what kind of person could look at me without fear. What I found was someone hanging by a thread, barely surviving, fighting for someone else. A pause. That kind of desperation is useful. The car slowed, pulling up to a building Arya recognized, a private medical center, the kind with marble lobbies and concierge doctors. The kind she'd walked past 100 times on her way to Michael's hospital, looking through the windows at a world she'd never afford. I'm not going in there, she said. I can't pay for... You're not paying, I am. Why? The driver opened the door, but neither of them moved. Lucian looked at her, really looked, and there was something calculating in his expression, something that made her skin prickle with warning. Because you need help, he said slowly, and I need something only you can provide. So we're going to make a deal, Arya. One that solves both our problems. What kind of deal? His smile didn't reach his eyes. The kind that saves your brother's life, the kind that wipes out your debt, sets you up for the rest of your life, gives you everything you've been fighting for. Hope flared in her chest, hot and dangerous. And what do you get? You. The word hung between them, heavy with implications she didn't want to examine. I don't understand. You will. He climbed out of the car, then leaned back in, offering his hand again. But first, let's fix your face. Then we'll talk about the terms. Arya sat there, frozen, while her mind screamed warnings. Don't trust him. Don't take the bait. Walk away. But walking away meant another 12-hour shift tomorrow. Meant watching Michael's condition deteriorate while bills piled higher. Meant slow drowning in a system that didn't care if she survived. And this man, this dangerous, impossible man, was offering a life raft. She took his hand. The medical center was everything she'd imagined and worse. Pristine white walls, art that probably cost more than life-saving equipment, a receptionist who smiled like she was trained to pretend poor people didn't exist. That smile faltered when she saw Arya's face. Mr. Varek, she recovered quickly. We weren't expecting private exam room. Now, Dr. Castellanos, if she's available. Of course, right away. They were ushered through doors Arya suspected most people never saw, into a corridor that smelled like antiseptic and money. A doctor appeared, mid-40s, competent hands, eyes that assessed Arya's injuries with professional distance. Exam 3, she said to Lucian. Then to Arya. Let's take a look. The exam room was spotless, equipment gleaming. Dr. Castellanos was gentle, efficient, asking questions in a voice that expected honest answers. Where does it hurt? Can you open your mouth? Any dizziness? Arya answered mechanically, watching Lucian in her peripheral vision. He stood by the window, phone out, typing something with quick, precise movements, making arrangements, changing things. You're lucky, the doctor said, cleaning the split in Arya's lip. No permanent damage. The swelling will go down in a few days. Ice it regularly. Take these for the pain. She handed over a prescription bottle. And Arya? Their eyes met. Whatever happened tonight, you don't have to go back to it. The words were careful, weighted with meaning. Arya understood. The doctor thought she was in an abusive relationship, thought Lucian was the danger. It's not what you think, Arya said quietly. It never is. Dr. Castellanos squeezed her shoulder. But my door is always open. Remember that. When they were alone again, Lucien pocketed his phone. She thinks you hit me, Arya said. I know. You didn't correct her. Would you believe me if I did? He moved closer, studying her face with clinical interest. The swelling's already setting in. You'll bruise badly. Something flickered across his expression. Victoria will pay for that, eventually. I thought you were done with her. I am, but consequences take time. He gestured to the door. Come on, we're not finished. Where now? Somewhere we can talk privately. The car took them deeper into Manhattan, into neighborhoods where buildings had names instead of addresses, where doormen wore uniforms that cost more than Arya's monthly salary. They stopped in front of a tower that scraped the sky, all glass and steel and architectural arrogance. Lucien's penthouse occupied the top 3 floors. Arya stood in the elevator, watching the numbers climb, feeling like Alice tumbling down the rabbit hole. Except this wasn't Wonderland. This was something darker, sharper. The doors opened directly into his apartment. It wasn't what she expected. No ostentation, no gold-plated faucets or crystal chandeliers. Just space, massive, open, flooded with city lights, floor-to-ceiling windows on 3 sides, furniture that looked comfortable rather than expensive, though it was probably both. Art on the walls that she didn't recognize but suspected was important. Sit, Lucien said, gesturing to a couch that faced the windows. Arya sat. Her body was starting to crash, adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Her cheek throbbed. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Lucien poured 2 glasses of something amber from a decanter, brought one to her. Drink. It helps. She took it because her hands needed something to hold. The liquid burned going down, warming her from the inside. He sat across from her, not beside, giving her space. The gesture felt deliberate. Okay, Arya said. I'm here. I'm listening. What do you want from me? Lucien leaned back, the city glittering behind him like a crown. I want you to marry me. The glass nearly slipped from her fingers. What? Not a real marriage, a contract, temporary. You play the role of my fiancée, then my wife, for a specified period. In exchange, your brother receives the best medical care available. Specialists. Clinical trials. Whatever it takes. Your debt, all of it, disappears. And when the contract ends, you walk away with enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Arya's mind reeled. That's insane! It's practical. Why would you need a fake wife? You were engaged to Victoria. You could have anyone. I could have anyone willing to use me for my money and connections. What I need is someone with no leverage, no family to complicate things, and every reason to keep their mouth shut. His eyes were steady on hers. You're drowning, Arya. I'm offering you air. Take it or don't, but decide quickly. This offer expires when you walk out that door. You're asking me to sell myself. I'm asking you to make a business arrangement, your time and discretion in exchange for your brother's life. He set down his glass. Tell me something. If Michael needed a kidney and you were a match, would you give it to him? Of course. No hesitation, no negotiation. You'd go under the knife, risk your life, endure pain and recovery, all to save him. He's my brother. Exactly. You'd sacrifice your body for him. I'm asking you to sacrifice your time. Same principle. Less blood. Lucien stood, walked to the window. You think I'm a monster? Maybe I am. But I'm a monster offering you the one thing you can't get anywhere else, a chance. Arya's throat tightened. What do you get out of this? Really? He was quiet for a long moment, his reflection ghostly in the glass. Stability. My business interests are facing challenges, internal and external. I need to project strength, unity, normalcy. A wife provides that. Someone untainted by my world, who can't be used against me because they have nothing to leverage except what I give them. You mean you need someone you can control? Yes. He didn't flinch from it. And you need someone who can save the person you love most. We're both using each other. The difference is, I'm being honest about it. She wanted to argue, wanted to throw the drink in his face and storm out and tell him exactly where he could shove his offer. But Michael's face swam in her memory, his smile getting weaker, his body getting thinner, the way he tried to hide how bad the pain was because he didn't want her to worry. How long? Her voice came out hollow. 1 year. Maybe less, depending on how things progress. And after? Clean divorce. No fault. You walk away with $10 million, free and clear. Your brother's care continues for the rest of his life, fully funded. You never have to work again unless you want to. $10 million. Arya's brain couldn't even process that number. It was abstract, meaningless, play money in a game she didn't understand. But Michael's care continuing? That was real. That was salvation. I need time to think. You have 12 hours. Lucian turned from the window. Tomorrow morning, I'll send a car. If you get in, we move forward. If not, you never see me again, and we both forget this conversation happened. That's not enough time. It's all the time you have. Because tomorrow afternoon, I have meetings that will determine whether my proposal is still viable. After that, the window closes. He moved to the door, opening it. The car will take you home. Think carefully, Arya. This isn't romance. It's not rescue. It's a transaction. But it's the best offer you'll ever get. She stood on shaking legs, walked to the door, paused beside him. Why me? She asked quietly. Really? For the first time all night, his expression shifted. Something that might have been vulnerability quickly shuddered. Because you looked at me and saw a person instead of a weapon. And I haven't felt like a person in a very long time. The admission hung between them, raw and unexpected. Then the moment passed, and his face closed off again. 12 hours, Arya. Choose wisely. The ride home was a blur. Brooklyn streets replacing Manhattan towers, luxury fading back to reality. The driver pulled up to her building, 5 floors, peeling paint, broken buzzer. The contrast was almost funny. Almost. Arya climbed the stairs to her apartment, unlocked 3 deadbolts, and stood in the tiny kitchen that doubled as her bedroom. Bills covered the table, medical statements she couldn't read, eviction notices she couldn't answer. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to Michael's contact, but didn't call. It was late. He'd be sleeping. The nurses would call if something was wrong. Instead, she sat at the table and stared at the papers that documented her drowning. 1 year, she thought. 1 year of pretending to love a stranger. 1 year of living in a world that isn't mine. 1 year of being owned. But 1 year that saves Michael. 1 year that ends the nightmare. 1 year that buys freedom. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. Have you decided? Lucian's voice, rough like he'd been drinking. It's been 2 hours. I know. Have you decided? Arya looked at the bills, at the eviction notice dated for next week, at the picture of Michael on her fridge from before he got sick, when his smile still reached his eyes. If I say yes, she said slowly, I need something else. Name it. I want to see him. Tomorrow. Before I decide. I want to see Michael, and I want you to arrange for him to be moved to a better facility. Immediately. Proof that you can deliver what you're promising. Silence on the line, then, done. The car will pick you up at 8. You'll visit Michael at his new hospital. Presbyterian, private wing. After that, you decide. And if I say no after seeing him, then he stays in the better hospital, and you never hear from me again. I keep my promises, Arya, even the ones that cost me. The line went dead. Arya sat in her dark apartment, holding a phone that suddenly felt like a contract, and wondered what she'd just set in motion. Outside her window, Manhattan glittered in the distance, a kingdom of light and shadow. And somewhere in one of those towers, a man who owned pieces of the city waited for her answer. She didn't sleep that night. At 7:55 a.m., she stood outside her building, wearing her least terrible clothes, watching a black car pull up to the curb. The driver got out, opened the door. Arya took a breath that tasted like surrender, and got in. The car smelled like leather and lies. Arya pressed her forehead against the window, watching Brooklyn blur into Manhattan, buildings growing taller like teeth. Her reflection stared back, hollow eyes, purple bruise blooming across her cheekbone, split lip crusted with dried blood. She looked like someone who'd lost a fight. She felt like someone about to lose a war. The driver didn't speak, didn't ask questions, just navigated traffic with the kind of precision that came from doing the same route 1,000 times. Probably drove Lucian's other transactions around too. Other desperate people making deals they didn't understand. Her phone buzzed. Michael's name lit up the screen. She answered fast. Hey, you okay? Arya? His voice was thin, confused. Where am I? Her chest tightened. What do you mean? They moved me. Last night. Said there was a transfer order, that a bed opened up in a better wing, but this place... He paused, and she heard movement, fabric rustling. This doesn't look like a better wing. This looks like where rich people go to die in comfort. Presbyterian? Yeah, private room. The bed has buttons. I don't know what they do. There's a TV the size of our apartment. A nurse came in an hour ago just to ask if I wanted specific brand of water. He laughed, but it sounded wrong, scared. Arya, what's happening? How are we paying for this? She closed her eyes. I'll explain when I see you. I'm on my way now. We can't afford this. The insurance, don't worry about it. That's what you always say. His voice cracked. Right before you do something stupid to fix things. What did you do? Michael. What did you do, Arya? She opened her mouth, closed it. What could she say? I sold myself to a stranger. I'm about to become a rich man's property. I'm trading a year of my life for yours. The words stuck in her throat like glass. I found help, she said finally. Someone who can pay for your treatment, real treatment, the kind that might actually work. Silence stretched. Then, what's it cost? Nothing you need to worry about. Bullshit! The anger in his voice was new, or maybe not new, maybe just buried under months of being too sick to fight. You think I don't know how the world works? Nobody gives away miracle cures. What did you promise them? The car pulled up to the hospital. All glass and steel, modern architecture pretending healthcare didn't hurt. I have to go, Arya said. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Arya, she hung up, hated herself for it. But she couldn't have this conversation in a moving car, couldn't explain the unexplainable while the driver pretended not to listen. The hospital lobby was designer quiet. Soft lighting, abstract art on walls the color of expensive calm. A receptionist who smiled like she was trained to make people feel welcome instead of dying. Arya Kincaid, she said. I'm here to see Michael Kincaid. The woman's fingers flew across a keyboard. Her smile never wavered. 5th floor, room 503. The elevator is... I know where elevators are. The smile flickered, just for a second, then reset to factory settings. Of course. Have a wonderful visit. Arya walked away before she said something that would get her thrown out. Her hands were shaking again. Hadn't stopped since last night, actually. Just adrenaline cycling through her system with nowhere to go, leaving her jittery and raw. The elevator was glass, overlooking the city. She watched the ground fall away, floor by floor, until she was floating in steel and light. The 5th floor was quieter than any hospital wing she'd ever been in. No overhead pages, no alarm bells, no smell of industrial cleaner trying to mask death. Just carpet soft enough to absorb sound and air that smelled like nothing at all. Room 503 was at the end of the hall. She stopped outside the door, hand on the handle, and made herself breathe. In, out, in, out. Like the therapist she couldn't afford had taught her, back when she thought breathing exercises solved anything. Michael was sitting up in bed, looking small against white sheets. He'd lost more weight. She could see it in his collarbones, in the way his hospital gown hung loose. His hair was growing back in patches from the last round of chemo, soft and uneven. He was 22, but looked 16. Their eyes met. Jesus Christ, Arya. Your face. She'd forgotten about the bruise. Her hand went up automatically, touching tender skin. It's nothing. Bullshit. He swung his legs over the side of the bed, IV line trailing. Who hit you? Doesn't matter. She won't do it again. She? He stood up, wobbly, crossing the space between them. His fingers touched her jaw, tilting her face toward the light. This wasn't an accident. Someone did this on purpose. A customer at the restaurant. It's handled. Handled how? She stepped back, breaking contact. Can we not do this? I came to see you, not get interrogated. Then start talking. Because I wake up in a palace, you show up with a busted face, and apparently someone's paying for miracles. His arms crossed. Connect the dots for me. Arya moved to the window. The view was obscene. Central Park spreading green below, Manhattan rising around it like a fence. Money bought elevation, bought distance from the suffering at ground level. His name is Lucian Varick, she said quietly. He owns things, buildings, businesses, other things I don't understand. How do you know him? I served him at Aurelius 3 weeks ago, and he just decided to move your dying brother to a luxury hospital out of the goodness of his heart? Michael's voice was sharp. Try again. She turned. He was standing there in a hospital gown that cost more than her rent, looking at her with eyes that saw too much. He'd always been good at reading her. When they were kids, he could tell when she was lying about eating dinner, could tell when she was scared of their father, could tell when she was breaking. He could tell now. He made me an offer, she said. A business arrangement. I do something for him. He takes care of your medical bills. All of them, plus enough money that neither of us ever have to worry again. Michael went very still. What kind of something? Marriage. Fake marriage. 1 year, maybe less. I play the part of his wife, attend events, make him look stable. Then we divorce and I walk away. The silence was physical, crushing. No. Michael, absolutely fucking not. His voice rose. You're not selling yourself to some stranger. I'm not selling anything. It's a contract, a job. It's prostitution with paperwork. He moved toward her, face flushed. You think I want to live knowing you hoard yourself out for my hospital bills? The word hit like a slap. Arya's jaw clenched. Don't. What else do you call it? You fuck him, play house, and he pays your brother's way? It's not like that. Then what's it like? Explain it to me. He was close now, breathing hard. Tell me how this is anything other than you destroying yourself to save me. Again. I'm not destroying anything. I'm making a choice. You don't get to make that choice. His hands were shaking. You don't get to sacrifice yourself. Not for me. I won't allow it. You don't have a say. The hell I don't. I'm your brother. I'm supposed to protect you. You're dying, Michael. The words came out raw, brutal. She watched them land, watched him flinch like she'd hit him. You're dying, and there's nothing I can do about it except throw money at doctors who keep saying the same thing. We'll try this treatment. It might work, but probably not. How many times have we heard that? How many times have I watched you get weaker while they drain our bank account and offer nothing but hope? So you're giving up. I'm taking the only real chance we've got. She moved closer, forcing him to look at her. This man can get you into clinical trials, experimental treatments, things insurance won't cover and we can't afford. He can make phone calls that actually get answered. And all he wants is a year of my time. He wants more than that. Michael's voice dropped. Men like that always want more. Maybe, but he's honest about it, which is more than I can say for the hospital administrators who smile while they bankrupt us. Michael's shoulders sagged. He looked exhausted suddenly, the fight draining out of him. You really think this will work? I think it's our only shot. He sank back onto the bed, head in his hands. I hate this. I hate that you have to do this. I hate that I'm the reason. You're not the reason. Cancer is the reason. Shitty healthcare is the reason. Bad luck is the reason. She sat beside him, careful not to jostle the IV. But if I can use him to save you, I'm doing it, and you don't get to feel guilty about it. That's not how guilt works. I know. She took his hand. It was cold, bones too close to the surface. But I need you to trust me. Can you do that? He was quiet for a long time. Then he squeezed her fingers. I don't trust him. I don't trust this situation, but I trust you. His eyes found hers. Just promise me something. What? If it gets bad, if he hurts you, if any of this crosses a line you can't come back from, you walk away. You let me go. Promise me. The request broke something in her chest. Michael, promise me, Arya. She couldn't. The promise would be a lie. There was no line she wouldn't cross for him, no price too high. They both knew it, but she said it anyway. I promise. He nodded, accepting the lie because it was easier than the truth. They sat there in expensive silence, holding hands like when they were kids and the world was smaller. A knock interrupted them. The door opened. A doctor entered, older, silver-haired, wearing confidence like a lab coat. He looked at Michael, then at Arya, and his smile was professional warmth. Miss Kincaid, I'm Dr. Raymond Chen. I'll be overseeing Michael's care going forward. He extended a hand. Arya shook it automatically. His grip was firm, measured. I didn't request a new doctor. Mr. Varick did. On your behalf. He moved to Michael's chart, scanning it with quick efficiency. I've reviewed your case. Quite thoroughly, actually. And I think we have some options you haven't been presented with yet. Michael's head lifted. What kind of options? There's a clinical trial at Columbia. CR T-cell therapy. Very promising results for cases like yours. Normally there's a waiting list, extensive screening, insurance approval nightmares. He looked up. But Mr. Varick has connections. I can have you enrolled by end of week. What's the catch? Arya asked. No catch. Well, he smiled slightly. The catch is that it's experimental. There are risks. Side effects we can't fully predict. But the alternative is continuing standard chemotherapy, which hasn't been effective. This gives you a real chance. Michael looked at Arya. She saw the hope there, fragile and desperate. The same hope she'd been chasing for 8 months, watching it die a little more each time a treatment failed. How real? She asked. Dr. Chen's expression turned serious. 60% remission rate in early trials, that's not a guarantee. But it's significantly better odds than what you're facing now. 60%. More than half. Better than the 15% they'd been living with. We'll do it, Michael said. Michael, we'll do it, he repeated, looking at Dr. Chen. Whatever it takes, sign me up. The doctor nodded. I'll start the paperwork. You'll need to stay here for observation. Run some preliminary tests. We'll begin treatment protocol Monday. He made a note on his tablet. You're in good hands, Mr. Kincaid. The best. He left as efficiently as he'd arrived. Arya stood there processing. This was real. Lucian had delivered exactly what he promised. Clinical trials, real doctors, real hope. The cage door was closing. You should go, Michael said quietly. What? Go. Make your deal. Do whatever you have to do. His voice was steady now, resolved. I'm not going to waste this chance, which means you can't either. She wanted to argue, wanted to stay here in this sterile room where the worst thing happening was cancer, which at least was honest. Didn't play games, didn't make deals. But the clock was ticking. 12 hours, Lucian had said. The window was closing. She kissed Michael's forehead. I'll call you tonight. Arya? She paused at the door. Be careful. Men who buy people don't usually let them go easily. The words followed her into the hallway, down the elevator, out into sunlight that felt too bright. The car was waiting. She got in without being asked. Where to? The driver said. Arya pulled out her phone, found Lucien's number. Her finger hovered over the call button, then she pressed it. He answered on the first ring. Have you decided? Yes. Silence. She could hear him breathing on the other end, steady, controlled. Say it clearly, he said, so there's no confusion later. I accept your offer. 1 year, fake marriage, Michael gets treatment, I get paid, we both walk away when it's done. Good. Something shifted in his voice, satisfaction maybe, or relief. The car will bring you to my lawyer's office. We'll sign the contract this afternoon. Have you eaten? The question was so mundane it threw her. What? Food. Have you eaten today? No. The driver will stop. Order whatever you want. The line went dead. Arya stared at her phone, then at the driver's eyes in the rearview mirror. He wants you to feed me? Mr. Varick is particular about people signing contracts while hungry. Says it clouds judgment. The driver's expression didn't change. There's a place 2 blocks over. Good sandwiches. I'm not hungry. Respectfully, miss, I was told to make sure you eat, so we're stopping. She wanted to argue, but her stomach was empty, had been empty since yesterday, and the hollowness was making her dizzy. Fine. The deli was cramped, crowded, smelling like bread and meat and normal human life. Arya ordered without looking at the menu, paid with money she didn't have, and ate standing up on the sidewalk because sitting felt like admitting defeat. The food tasted like nothing. 40 minutes later, they pulled up to a building in Midtown. All glass and steel, law firm names stacked on the directory like a food chain. Arya's hands were shaking again. The driver opened her door. 42nd floor, suite 4200. They're expecting you. She climbed out, looked up at the building that seemed to have no top, just kept going into clouds and sky. Last chance to run, she thought. Last chance to say this is insane and walk away. But Michael's face was in her mind, his smile from the hospital, the hope that had been dead for months suddenly flickering back to life. She went inside. The lobby was marble and money. Security desk, metal detectors, badge scanners. She gave her name to a guard who checked a list and waved her through like she was expected, like she belonged. The elevator was faster than the hospital's, quieter. She watched the numbers climb, her reflection warping in brass doors. 42. The doors opened onto a reception area that screamed old money trying to look modern. Leather chairs, abstract art. A receptionist who looked like she'd been hired for her ability to intimidate. "Miss Kincaid," the woman said. "Mr. Varric is in conference room B, down the hall, third door on your left." Arya followed directions on autopilot. Her heels, borrowed from a coworker, half a size too small, clicked on hardwood. The sound echoed. Conference room B was all windows, overlooking the city. A table long enough to seat 20. Only 2 people occupied it. Lucien sat at the head, wearing a suit that probably cost what she made in 6 months. He looked up when she entered, eyes tracking her movement like a predator cataloging prey. Beside him sat a woman, late 50s, gray suit, reading glasses perched on her nose. She had the look of someone who'd spent decades translating violence into legal language. "Arya." Lucien stood. "This is Margaret Torres, my attorney." Margaret didn't offer to shake hands, just gestured to a chair. "Please, sit. We have a lot to cover." Arya sat. The chair was leather, expensive, too soft. Made her feel like she was sinking. Margaret slid a document across the table. Thick, bound, official-looking seals on every page. "This is the contract," she said. "I'll walk you through the key points, then you'll have time to review. Do you have your own legal representation?" "No." "Would you like time to obtain counsel before signing?" Arya looked at Lucien. He was watching her with that same calculating expression from last night, measuring, assessing. "How much time?" Arya asked. "As much as you need," Margaret said, though Mr. Varric has indicated some urgency. "I need this done today," Lucien said quietly. "There are people who need to see proof of engagement by tonight, tomorrow at the latest." "Who?" Arya asked. "Business partners, investors, people whose confidence I need to maintain." His fingers drummed once on the table. "You don't need to understand the politics. You just need to understand the timeline." Arya looked at the contract, hundreds of pages, legal language she'd need a dictionary to parse. "I can't read all of this in one day." "Then listen while I summarize," Margaret said. She opened to a bookmarked page. Duration, 1 year from date of legal marriage. Compensation, $10 million, paid in full upon divorce finalization. Medical care for Michael Kincaid, fully funded for life, regardless of contract completion. Living arrangements. You'll reside in Mr. Varric's primary residence. Public appearances. As needed, typically 2 to 3 events per week. Private conduct. You'll maintain the appearance of a committed relationship in all public and semi-public settings. What counts as semi-public? Anywhere you might be photographed or observed. Restaurants, his office building, social gatherings. Margaret turned a page. The contract includes standard non-disclosure agreements. You cannot discuss the terms of this arrangement with anyone except your brother and necessary medical personnel. Violation results in immediate termination and forfeiture of compensation. "So I can't tell anyone the truth." "You can't tell anyone it's not real," Lucien corrected. "As far as the world knows, we met, fell in love, and decided to marry. Quickly, because life's short and we're certain." "No one will believe that." "They don't have to believe it. They just have to not be able to prove otherwise." He leaned forward slightly. "People believe what's convenient. A waitress marrying a billionaire happens all the time in their fantasies. They'll eat it up," Margaret continued. "Physical intimacy clause. You're not required to engage in sexual relations with Mr. Varric. However, you must share a bedroom and maintain physical proximity in public. Hand-holding, casual touch, appropriate affection. If you choose to engage in intimate relations, it's understood to be consensual and not coerced." Arya's stomach turned. "You're putting our sex life, or lack of it, In a contract? I'm protecting both parties, Margaret said. This ensures you can't claim coercion later, and Mr. Varick can't claim breach if you refuse. It's standard in these arrangements. These arrangements? Arya laughed, but it sounded broken. How many of these have you done? Margaret's expression didn't change. I've handled 7 similar contracts in the past 5 years, all concluded satisfactorily for both parties. Satisfactorily. The word tasted like metal. Is that what this is? Satisfactory? It's what you agreed to, Lucien said. His voice was quiet, steady. If you want to back out, do it now, before signatures, before it's real. She should. Every instinct screamed to run. This was insane, illegal maybe, definitely immoral. But Michael's face, his hope, 60%. Keep going, she said. Margaret nodded. Termination clauses. Either party can end the contract early under specific conditions. Infidelity on your part results in immediate termination with no compensation. Infidelity on Mr. Varick's part grants you the option to continue or terminate with full compensation. Abuse, physical, emotional, psychological, triggers immediate termination with full compensation plus damages. Failure to maintain public appearance standards on your part results in penalties reducing final compensation. There's a detailed appendix defining those standards. Best saying. What standards? Margaret turned pages. Appropriate dress for public events? Mr. Varick's stylist will provide wardrobe. Fitness and grooming. You'll have access to personal trainers and estheticians. Social conduct. You'll receive coaching on appropriate behavior in high society settings. Media training. You'll work with a PR specialist to handle interview requests. Arya's head was spinning. You're going to dress me up like a doll. I'm going to make sure you look like you belong at my side, Lucien said. No one will believe our relationship if you show up to a gala in thrift store clothes. There's nothing wrong with, I didn't say there was, but we're selling an image. That means looking the part. His eyes held hers. This is what you agreed to, Arya, playing a role. You can't do that half-heartedly. She wanted to throw the contract in his face, wanted to scream that she wasn't some object he could reshape into his ideal wife. But she'd already sold that right when she got in the car this morning. Fine, she said. What else? Margaret went through 17 more pages. Restrictions on social media, guidelines for interactions with his family. Apparently he had a sister, which was news to Arya. Rules about staff, about travel, about how to handle questions from friends. Every page was another chain, every clause another lock. By the time Margaret finished, Arya felt hollowed out, carved empty and filled with someone else's expectations. Questions? Margaret asked. Just one. Arya looked at Lucien. Why are you really doing this? And don't give me the stability line. There are easier ways to project power. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood, walked to the windows, hands in his pockets. 3 weeks ago, my father died, he said. Heart attack, quick, painless. Lucky bastard. He didn't turn around. He built this empire. Buildings, businesses, connections. All of it designed to last. Then he died, and suddenly everyone's wondering if his son can hold it together. If I'm strong enough, stable enough, sane enough. Are you? He glanced back, and something like amusement flickered across his face. Probably not. But they don't need to know that. They need to see a man in control. A man with a future. A man worth betting on. He turned fully. A wife provides that. Proof that I'm not just my father's violent son. That I'm capable of building something, not just destroying it. The honesty was unexpected. Arya didn't know what to do with it. Your turn, Lucien said subtly and said, why are you really doing this? And don't tell me it's just for Michael. It is for Michael. Bullshit. You could have walked away. Let him die. Start it over. 26 is young. You'd survive. The words were cruel. True. Unbearable. He's all I have, Arya said quietly. Our mom died when I was 17. Dad was gone before that. Mentally first, physically later. Michael is the only family I've got. The only person who knows who I was before, she gestured vaguely, before life broke me. So you're doing this to avoid being alone. I'm doing this because losing him would kill me. Maybe not physically, but every part that matters. Gone. She stood, matching his posture. You want to know the truth? I'm terrified. Of you, of this, of what happens when I step into your world, but I'm more terrified of watching my brother die slowly while I work 3 jobs and still can't afford to save him. So yeah, I'm taking your money, using your connection, selling my time, because at least this fear has a purpose. Silence settled between them. Heavy. Real. Margaret cleared her throat. If there are no further questions, I'll give you privacy to review and sign. She left, closing the door softly. Arya and Lucian stood on opposite sides of the conference table, the contract between them like a border. 1 year, he said. 1 year, she agreed. You'll hate me before it's over. Probably. I won't make it easy. I don't expect you to. He moved around the table, picked up a pen, signed his name in 3 places. His handwriting was sharp, controlled. Then he slid the document to her. Arya stared at the signature line, at her name typed below it. Arya Marie Kincaid. If she signed, that name would become Arya Varick. She'd be his wife. His property, legally speaking, bound by ink and paper and money. But Michael would live. She picked up the pen. It was heavier than expected. She signed, quick, before she could change her mind. Lucian took the contract, set it aside, then pulled something from his pocket. A ring box. Black velvet. He opened it. The ring inside was beautiful, understated. A single diamond, simple setting, elegant without being ostentatious. Nothing like Victoria's monstrosity. Your hand, he said. She extended it, fingers trembling. He slid the ring onto her 4th finger. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. He'd probably known her size before she did. There, he said softly. Now it's real. Arya looked at the diamond catching light, throwing tiny prisms across her skin. It felt heavy, foreign, like a shackle made of starlight. What happens now? She asked. Now we make you disappear. Her head jerked up. What? Arya Kincaid, the waitress, needs to vanish. No forwarding address, no social media trail. Your apartment will be cleared out. Anything you want to keep gets moved to my place. Your jobs will receive resignation notices. Your friends get a carefully crafted story about sudden opportunity out of state. Clean break. You're erasing me. I'm protecting us both. If anyone digs into your past and finds bills, debt, desperation, they'll question the relationship, wonder what you're getting out of it. His thumb brushed over the ring on her finger. Not romantic, just adjusting the fit. But if you simply disappeared into my world, met me at some event, fell madly in love, that's a story people will buy. What about Michael? I can't just abandon him. You'll visit, but carefully. No patterns. No obvious frequency. And when you do, you're the doting sister who married well, not the desperate woman who sold herself. I didn't sell myself. Didn't you? He released her hand. We can use prettier words if it helps you sleep, but we both know what this is. Anger flared hot in her chest. You don't get to judge me. You're the one buying. I'm not judging. I'm stating facts. He moved to the window again, silhouette dark against bright sky. You want me to pretend this is noble, that we're both victims of circumstance? Fine. Tell yourself that story, but don't expect me to sell it to you. I know what I am. And what's that? A man who takes what he wants and pays for the privilege. At least I'm honest about it. The words hung between them, sharp and true. Arya's phone buzzed. She pulled it out automatically. Unknown number. Text message. Congratulations on the engagement. We should talk soon. V. Her blood went cold. Victoria knows. Lucian glanced at the phone, expression unchanging. Of course she knows. I ended our engagement publicly yesterday. She's been watching, waiting to see what happens next. How did she get my number? Same way I got all your information. Money buys access. He took the phone, deleted the message. Don't respond. Don't engage. She's testing boundaries. What if she doesn't stop? Then I'll handle it. He handed back the phone. Victoria's vindictive, not stupid. She knows there are lines she can't cross. Harassment is one of them. Arya wasn't convinced. She'd seen Victoria's eyes yesterday. The rage, the humiliation. Women like that didn't forget. Margaret returned with 3 other people. A photographer, a publicist, and someone introduced as a stylist. They moved through the room like a well-oiled machine, transforming the conference space into a photo shoot. "What's happening?" Arya asked. "Engagement announcement," the publicist said. A man named Derek, 40-something, wearing efficiency like cologne. "We need photos for the press release, social media, something candid but polished." "I look like I got hit by a car." "We'll work around the bruising. Focus on the ring, the connection. Lucien, stand closer." "Arya, relax your shoulders." She couldn't relax anything. Every muscle was tense, fight-or-flight instincts screaming. But she let them position her, let Lucien's arm settle around her waist, his hand on the small of her back. He was warm, solid. And when the photographer said, "Look at each other," his eyes met hers with something that almost looked real. "Smile," Derek coached, "like you're in love." Arya tried. It felt like a grimace. "Better," Derek lied. "Lucien, say something to her. Make her laugh." Lucien leaned in, lips close to her ear. To the camera, it probably looked intimate, romantic. His words were anything but. $63 million. She blinked. "What? That's what you're worth to me right now. 10 million for you, 53 million in deals that won't collapse because I look stable. So when you smile for these pictures, remember you're not just playing a part. You're an investment, and I protect my investments." The photographer's shutter clicked rapidly. Arya smiled. It was real this time, sharp, bitter. The smile of someone who'd just realized exactly how fucked they were. "Perfect," Derek said. That's the shot. 2 hours later, Arya stood in the lobby of her apartment building for the last time. Lucien's people had already been through it. Her clothes, her books, the few photographs she owned, all packed into boxes and loaded into a truck. The furniture stayed. Wasn't worth moving, they'd said. She could buy better. Her landlord, a man who'd ignored her pleas for repairs but always cashed her rent checks, stood by the door watching with obvious curiosity. "Moving up in the world?" he said. "Something like that." "About time. You were always too good for this place." The irony burned. He'd thought she was worthless when she was just a tenant. Now that she had money or access to it, suddenly she'd always been special. "Yeah," she said. "About time." The car was waiting. Same driver, same expensive leather, same silence. Arya got in without looking back. They drove through Manhattan as afternoon bled into evening, lights beginning to sparkle. The city looked different from this side of the glass. Cleaner. Prettier. A lie, but a convincing one. Lucien's building rose ahead, all steel and glass and architectural ego. The car descended into underground parking, private garage, security everywhere. The driver opened her door. "Mr. Varick is waiting upstairs." Of course he was. The private elevator was quiet, fast. Her reflection stared back from mirrored walls, bruised face, borrowed clothes, diamond ring that didn't belong. She looked like an imposter. The doors opened directly into Lucien's penthouse. He was standing by the windows, phone to his ear, speaking in rapid-fire sentences she didn't catch. When he saw her, he held up one finger. "Wait." She waited. What else could she do? The apartment was different in daylight's aftermath, less imposing, more lived in. Books on shelves, coffee cup on a table, small things that suggested a person existed here, not just a billionaire. Lucien finished his call. "Your things are in the master bedroom. Feel free to arrange them however you want." "Where will you sleep?" "Same room, same bed." He saw her expression. "There's a couch. I'll use that until you're comfortable." "I won't be comfortable." "Then I'll use it indefinitely." He moved to a bar cart, poured 2 drinks, offered one. "You should eat something. Dinner's being delivered in 20 minutes. "I'm not hungry." "You haven't eaten since the sandwich. Eat anyway." "Stop telling me what to do." "Stop acting like a child and I will." The word snapped something in her. Arya closed the distance between them, got in his face, even though he had 6 inches and probably 60 pounds on her. "Don't you dare call me a child. I just signed my life away to save my brother. I'm wearing your ring, living in your house, playing your wife. The least you can do is treat me like a fucking adult." He didn't back away, didn't flinch, just looked down at her with those dark, unreadable eyes. "You're right," he said quietly. "I apologize." The apology shocked her more than the insult had. He handed her the glass. "Drink, or don't." But if you pass out from low blood sugar, I'm calling a doctor, and that will annoy us both. She took the glass. Drank. It burned less than yesterday's had. The bedroom is through there, he gestured. Bathroom attached. Everything you should need. If something's missing, tell the housekeeper in the morning. You have a housekeeper. I have several. They come in the mornings, leave before I'm home. You won't see them often. Do they know? About us? They know I got engaged. They don't know the terms. No one does except me, you, and Margaret. Arya nodded, drained the glass. I'm going to shower. Dinner in 20 minutes. I heard you the first time. She walked away before he could respond, found the bedroom, closed the door. The space was huge. King bed, windows overlooking the city, closet bigger than her old apartment. Her boxes sat in neat rows, looking pathetic against all that space. Arya opened the bathroom door and stopped. It was marble and glass and luxury she'd only seen in magazines. Shower big enough for 3 people. Tub that probably cost more than a car. Towels so thick and soft they didn't feel real. She turned on the shower, peeled off her clothes, stepped under water hot enough to hurt. And finally, alone for the first time since this morning, she broke. Not crying, not sobbing, just breathing too fast, hands shaking, the weight of everything crashing down. She'd sold herself, signed a contract, put on a ring, smiled for cameras. And now she was standing in a stranger's shower, about to eat dinner with the man who owned her time, her image, her future. 1 year, she told herself, just 1 year. But when she closed her eyes, all she could see was that contract, all those pages, all those chains, all that fine print she hadn't read, detailing exactly how little of herself she still owned. The water ran cold before she moved. She dressed in clean clothes, jeans, sweater, nothing fancy. Found Lucian in the kitchen, setting out containers of Thai food. I didn't know what you liked, he said, so I ordered variety. They ate in silence, or tried to, but the quiet was oppressive, heavy with everything unsaid. Tomorrow, Lucian said finally, we announce publicly. The PR team will release photos, a statement. Your phone will explode. We'll need to coordinate responses. What do I say? That you're happy. That I'm everything you've been looking for. That you can't wait to spend your life with me. All lies. All necessary. He pushed food around his plate. There's an event Friday night. Charity gala. Black tie. We'll make our first public appearance. That's 3 days away. I know. The stylist will be here tomorrow to fit you for a dress. PR will brief you on talking points. You'll meet my sister Thursday. Arya's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Your sister. Cassandra, she's... He paused, choosing words carefully. Difficult, protective. She won't like you at first. Why not? Because you're not Victoria. Because this happened fast. Because she thinks everyone's trying to use me. His smile was thin. She's usually right. Should I be worried? Probably, but Cassandra's bark is worse than her bite, usually. They finished eating. Lucian cleaned up, insisted on it, actually, when Arya tried to help. She watched him move through the kitchen with easy familiarity, loading the dishwasher, wiping down counters. Small domestic actions that seemed wrong coming from a man who bought people. I'm going to bed, she said. He nodded. I'll be up later. I have calls to make. The bedroom was dark, except for city light filtering through windows. Arya found pajamas in one of her boxes, changed, climbed into a bed soft enough to drown in. She lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to Lucian's voice drifting from the other room. He was speaking Russian now, at least she thought it was Russian, hard and fluid at once. Her phone buzzed. Michael. How'd it go? She typed back. It's done. I'm engaged. Michael. How do you feel? How did she feel? Trapped, terrified, relieved, guilty, numb. Arya. Ask me in a year. Michael. I love you. This is going to be okay. She wanted to believe him. The bedroom door opened quietly. Lucien entered, moving carefully in the dark. She heard him gathering things, pillow, blanket, settling onto the couch on the far side of the room. Arya. His voice was soft. Yeah? You can still walk away. Tomorrow morning, I'll tear up the contract. No penalties. Michael keeps the better hospital. You keep your freedom. The offer hung in darkness. Why would you do that? Because I've bought a lot of things in my life. I'm comfortable with that. But I don't want you to wake up every day hating yourself for the choice you made. She thought about it, really thought about it. But Michael's face was there, his hope, 60%. I'm not walking away, she said. Then get some sleep. Tomorrow starts early. Silence settled again. Arya closed her eyes, felt the weight of the ring on her finger, and wondered what version of herself would wake up in the morning. What version would survive the year ahead, and whether, when it was all over, there'd be anything left of Arya Kincaid worth saving. Outside the windows, Manhattan glittered indifferently. Inside, two strangers lay in darkness, bound by contract and desperation, pretending they'd chosen this. Pretending they weren't both just survivors. Pretending the cage was freedom. The city hummed its eternal song of money and power and people selling pieces of themselves to stay alive. And somewhere in the distance, a storm was building. Neither of them saw it coming. Not yet. The engagement announcement hit the internet at 6 a.m. Arya woke to her phone vibrating itself off the nightstand, crashing to the floor with a crack that probably meant a shattered screen. She grabbed it anyway, squinting at the damage. Spiderweb fractures across the glass, but still functional. 37 missed calls. 100+ texts. Her social media notifications had stopped counting at 999+. What the hell? Lucien's voice came from the couch, rough with sleep. They released it early. Derek thought it would hit harder during morning commute. She scrolled through messages. Old coworkers from the restaurant, friends she hadn't spoken to in months, people she barely remembered from high school, everyone asking the same questions in different words. Is this real? How did you meet him? Are you okay? Do you need help? That last one was from Sarah, her old roommate, the one who'd moved out when Arya couldn't make rent 3 months running. Arya typed back, I'm fine. Really, just happened fast. Sarah's response came immediately. Too fast. This guy is dangerous. Everyone knows it. Please tell me you know what you're doing. She didn't respond. What could she say? Yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. Selling a year of my life for $10 million and my brother's survival. Totally sane. Completely normal. Lucien was moving now. Standing. Stretching. He'd slept in his clothes. Dress shirt wrinkled. Pants creased. He looked almost human like this. Vulnerable. Then he ran a hand through his hair and the moment passed. Coffee? He asked. Please. He disappeared into the kitchen. Arya pulled up the official announcement. There they were, the photos from yesterday. Her and Lucien looking at each other like people in love instead of people in transaction. The ring catching light, his hand on her waist, her smile that the photographer called perfect. The headline, Lucien Varrick engaged to Brooklyn server in whirlwind romance. The article beneath was half fairy tale, half tabloid speculation. How they'd met at Aurelius, how he'd been captivated immediately, how she'd resisted at first, playing hard to get, the article suggested coyly, but eventually succumbed to his persistence. How he'd proposed after just 3 weeks because when you know, you know. All lies, all believable. The comments were brutal. Gold digger. She's using him. Give it 6 months before the divorce and payout. He could do so much better. She's pretty, but not that pretty. Bet she's pregnant. Some were kinder, defending love at first sight, saying she seemed sweet, wishing them happiness. Those comments hurt worse somehow. The kindness felt like accusation. Lucien returned with coffee, black, no sugar. She took it anyway, needed the warmth in her hands. Don't read the comments, he said. Too late. They'll get worse before they get better. People will dig into your past. Find your old apartment. Interview neighbors. Someone will sell a story about you to a tabloid. He sat beside her, not close, leaving space. Can you handle that? Do I have a choice? No, but I need to know if you'll break. She met his eyes. I waited tables for entitled assholes who treated me like furniture. I watched my brother almost die 6 times in 8 months. I worked 80-hour weeks and still couldn't pay bills. You think internet comments are going to break me? Fair point. He almost smiled. The stylist will be here at 9, PR team at 11. Try to eat something before then. You keep trying to feed me. You keep looking like you're about to pass out. He wasn't wrong. Her hands were shaking again. Had been shaking since yesterday, since before yesterday. Maybe they'd never stopped. Arya forced down toast she didn't taste, showered in the Marble Palace bathroom, tried on 3 different outfits before settling on jeans and a sweater because nothing else felt real. The stylist arrived exactly at 9. Her name was Dominique. French accent, severe haircut, eyes that assessed Arya like she was a project. Not a person. A problem to solve. "We have 3 days to make you presentable," Dominique said, circling. "The Gala Friday is critical. Everyone will be watching, judging, looking for cracks." "No pressure." Dominique ignored her. "Take off your clothes." "Excuse me?" "I need to see what we're working with. Body type, skin tone, how much correction we need." Arya looked at Lucien. He'd retreated to his office, but the door was open. "Can I get some privacy?" "This is my job," Dominique said. "I've dressed supermodels, actresses, socialites. Your modesty is wasting my time." There was nothing kind in her voice, nothing sympathetic, just impatience. Arya stripped down to her underwear, feeling exposed under those clinical eyes. Dominique made notes on a tablet. "You're thin. Too thin. We'll need padding and some dresses. Your posture is terrible. You slouch like you're trying to disappear. We'll work on that. Skin is decent but needs better care. Hair." She lifted a strand, let it fall. "We'll do extensions for volume, maybe highlights." "I like my hair." "You'll like it better when it doesn't look like you cut it yourself in a gas station bathroom." The insult landed like a slap. Arya's jaw clenched. "My friend cut it. She's studying cosmetology." "Then she should study harder." Dominique pulled out a measuring tape. "Arms up." The next hour was mechanical. Measurements, notes. Dominique draping fabric swatches against Arya's skin, holding them to the light, discarding most with dismissive sounds. "You're difficult to dress," she announced finally. "Not enough curve for truly feminine lines. Too short for dramatic silhouettes. We'll have to be clever." "Gee, thanks." "I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you look good. There's a difference." Dominique packed up her samples. "I'll have options sent over tomorrow. You'll try everything. We'll choose together. Or rather, I'll choose and you'll agree." She left in a cloud of expensive perfume and casual cruelty. Arya stood there in her underwear, feeling stripped of more than clothes. Lucien appeared in the doorway. "She's good at her job." "She's a bitch." "Also true." He handed her a robe. "Get dressed. PR is early." The PR team was 3 people, Derek from yesterday, plus 2 women who introduced themselves as Monica and Jazz. They set up in the dining room, laptops and tablets covering the table. "So," Derek said, all business, "we need to get your story straight. Where you met, how it happened, what you love about him. Every detail matters because people will look for inconsistencies." Arya glanced at Lucien. He was leaning against the wall, arms crossed, watching. "We met at Aurelius," she said. "I was his server." "Good. That's already public. What happened next?" "He asked me out after his meal." "No?" Monica shook her head. "Too direct. Men like Lucien don't ask out waitresses. It needs to be more subtle, more romantic." Jazz jumped in. "What if he left his number? On the receipt. You debated calling. Finally did. He was charming." "I wasn't charming," Lucien said. "I was direct." "We're not writing a documentary," Derek said. "We're writing a love story. People want romance. Give them romance." For the next 2 hours, they crafted a narrative. Lucien had left his number. Arya had waited 3 days to call. Playing it cool, the story went, not wanting to seem desperate. Their first date was coffee, nothing fancy, just conversation. He'd been surprisingly easy to talk to. She'd made him laugh. He'd asked her to dinner the next night. Dinner became a week of dates. A week became constant communication. He'd show up at the restaurant on her shifts, sit in her section, leave ridiculous tips. It was sweet, insistent, impossible to resist. The proposal came after 3 weeks, too fast by conventional standards, but they weren't conventional people. He'd known. She'd known. Why wait? "It's perfect," Monica said, reviewing her notes. "It plays into the Cinderella fantasy without being too on the nose. Gives him a softer edge. Makes you seem genuine." What if someone contradicts it? Arya asked. What if people from the restaurant remember differently? They won't remember at all, Derek said. You were invisible to them. One of dozens of servers, and the ones who do remember. We'll make sure their version aligns with ours. How? Money, NDAs, gentle persuasion. Derek's smile didn't reach his eyes. Don't worry about logistics. That's our job. They drilled her on talking points. What to say if asked about the age difference? 12 years, they discovered. Age is just a number when you find the right person. What to say about the speed of the engagement? When you know, you know. What to say about Victoria? I don't discuss his past relationships. We're focused on our future. By noon, Arya's head was pounding. One more thing, Jazz said. Social media. We need to curate your presence. I barely use social media. Exactly the problem. Lucien's wife needs a visible, aspirational online presence, tasteful photos, glimpses of your life together. Nothing too personal, but enough to seem authentic. They took over her phone, deleted old posts, photos from her apartment, complaints about work, anything that suggested poverty or struggle. Replaced her profile picture with one of the engagement photos. Wrote a caption for her. Grateful for this beautiful new chapter. #engaged, #lucky girl. I didn't write that, Arya protested. You will from now on, Monica said. Everything you post goes through us first. We'll create a content calendar. You'll follow it. You're taking over my life. We're protecting your image, and his. Derek closed his laptop. This is what you signed up for, Arya. Total cooperation. Or did you not read the contract? She had read it. Most of it. Enough to know she'd given up control of more than just her time. They left with promises to return tomorrow. More coaching, more preparation, more transformation into someone she wasn't. Lucien ordered lunch. Arya picked at salad while he made phone calls in Russian again, his voice sharp and commanding. When he finished, she asked, What were you talking about? Business. What kind of business? The kind you don't need to understand. I'm your wife. Or will be. Don't I have a right to know? He set down his fork, looked at her directly. You're my wife in name. For appearance. That doesn't grant you access to operational details of my companies. Companies, plural. I own commercial real estate, logistics companies, import-export businesses, various other interests. The careful language made her suspicious. Import-export of what? Goods. What kind of goods? Arya. His voice dropped. Warning. There are things you're better off not knowing. Trust me on this. You're asking me to trust a man who bought a wife. I'm asking you to be smart enough to not ask questions that put you in danger. The words hung between them, heavy with implication. Are you involved in something illegal? She asked quietly. Lucien was silent for a long moment. Then he stood, walked to the window, hands in his pockets. Define illegal, he said finally. Her stomach dropped. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting. He turned. I told you from the beginning I'm not a good man. I've done things that would horrify you, built an empire on foundations you're better off not examining, but those things also pay for your brother's treatment, for this apartment, for the life you're about to step into. So I just ignore it, pretend I don't know? You don't know. That's the point. And if you're smart, you'll keep it that way. Arya stood, anger rising. You can't expect me to... Her phone rang. Michael's name flashed on the cracked screen. She answered immediately. Hey, everything okay? Arya. His voice was wrong, too tight, too controlled. Can you come to the hospital? Her heart stopped. What happened? Are you... I'm fine, physically, but we need to talk. In person. Michael, you're scaring me. Just come, please. He hung up. Arya stared at the phone, fear clawing up her throat. What's wrong? Lucien asked. I don't know. He wants me to come to the hospital. Something's wrong. I'll have the driver... No. She was already grabbing her jacket. I'm going alone. Arya, this is my brother, my family. I don't need your people following me. She was out the door before he could argue, taking the stairs because the elevator felt too slow. The lobby, the street, hailing a cab because she didn't have time to wait for Lucien's driver. Traffic was brutal. Every red light felt like torture. Her mind raced through possibilities. Michael's condition had worsened. The treatment wasn't working. The cancer had spread. 25 minutes later, she burst into his hospital room. He was sitting up in bed looking healthy, better than he had in months, actually. Color in his face, strength in his posture. Relief flooded through her. "You're okay." "Sit down," he said. "Michael, what's—" "Sit down." His voice was hard, unfamiliar. She sat. Michael pulled out a tablet, set it on the bed between them. On the screen was a news article, not about the engagement, something older. The headline, "Varick Enterprises under federal investigation for money laundering." Her blood went cold. "Keep reading," Michael said. She scrolled. The article was from 2 years ago. Federal prosecutors investigating Lucien's import-export businesses. Allegations of shell companies, illegal fund transfers, connections to organized crime. Nothing proven. No charges filed. But the smoke was there, thick and choking. "This is old news," she said, but her voice shook. "There's more." Michael swiped to another article. Lucien Varick, the billionaire with blood on his hands. This one was worse. Accusations of intimidation, business rivals who disappeared, a whistleblower found dead in an apparent suicide. All circumstantial, all unprovable, all pointing to a man who operated outside the law. "Michael, I'm not done." Another swipe. This article was from yesterday. A tabloid piece, poorly written but thoroughly researched. Varick's new fiancée, desperate waitress or willing accomplice. Her own face stared back. Old photos from social media before the PR team scrubbed it. Her apartment building. Interviews with former co-workers. "She was always looking for a way out," one anonymous source said. "Always talking about how she'd do anything to save her brother." Another source. "I'm not surprised she landed a rich guy. She was pretty enough, smart enough, desperate enough." The article speculated about the real nature of their relationship. Suggested she might be helping him with money laundering. Pointed out the convenient timing, his engagement to Victoria ending, his businesses under scrutiny. Suddenly he's got a fresh-faced nobody by his side to make him look sympathetic. "This is garbage," Arya said. "Tabloid trash." "Is it?" Michael's eyes were hard. "Because everything they're saying about him seems to be true." "You don't know that. I had my doctor run a background check, unofficial, just looking into who's paying my bills." He leaned forward. "Do you know what I found? 16 shell companies connected to Varick Enterprises. 3 of them under active investigation by the FBI. Financial ties to people whose names come up in federal racketeering cases." "That doesn't mean—" "He's a criminal, Arya. Maybe not convicted, maybe too smart to get caught, but he's dirty. And now you're tied to him." She wanted to argue, wanted to defend Lucien, but his own words echoed in her head. "Define illegal." "I've done things that would horrify you." "I know what I signed up for," she said quietly. "Do you?" "Because from where I'm sitting, you signed up to be a Mafia wife." "Don't be dramatic." "I'm dying, Arya. I don't have time for drama, just truth." His hand gripped hers. "And the truth is you've tied yourself to a dangerous man. Put yourself in the crosshairs of federal investigations. Made yourself complicit in whatever he's doing." "I'm not complicit. It's a fake marriage." "You think the FBI cares about that? You think prosecutors won't use you to get to him?" Michael's voice cracked. "You think I want to survive if it means watching you go to prison?" The words hit like a physical blow. "That won't happen," she said, but it sounded hollow. "You don't know that. You don't know anything about this man except he has money and he's willing to spend it." Michael released her hand. "I've been doing research all morning. Every article, every investigation, every allegation. You want to know what I found?" "What?" "People around Lucien Varick tend to disappear when they become inconvenient. Business partners who ask too many questions. Employees who threaten to talk. Even his own father's death was suspicious. Massive heart attack at 63 with no prior cardiac issues." "You're saying he killed his own father?" "I'm saying the timing was convenient. His father was preparing to testify in a federal case. Then he died. Case fell apart. Lucien inherited everything." Arya stood, pacing. The room felt too small, too hot. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you can still walk away. You signed the contract yesterday. It's barely been 24 hours. There has to be a way out. There isn't. I read it. Termination only under specific conditions. And even if I could leave, you'd lose the treatment. I don't want the treatment. Not like this. The words stopped her cold. She turned. What? I'd rather die than watch you destroy yourself. His eyes were wet. I'd rather have 6 months of saying goodbye than 60 years knowing I lived because you sold yourself to a monster. Michael, I'm serious. Walk away. Right now. We'll figure something else out. There is nothing else. We've tried everything. This is the only option. Then let me go. The request broke something in her chest. Arya sank into the chair, head in her hands. I can't, she whispered. I can't watch you die. I can't do it. And I can't watch you sacrifice yourself. They sat in silence. Outside, the hospital hummed with life and death, people fighting and people surrendering. Finally, Arya looked up. 1 year. I survive 1 year. Then I walk away with enough money to take care of both of us. Set you up for life. Give us a future. If you're not in prison, I won't be. If he doesn't decide you're too inconvenient to let go, he will. It's a contract. He honors contracts. How do you know? The question hung there. She didn't know. Didn't know anything about Lucien except he was dangerous and powerful and had bought her services for a year. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You should have stayed invisible. V. Her blood froze. How does she keep getting my number? Michael looked at the screen. Who's V? Victoria, Lucien's ex-fiancée. She's been messaging since yesterday. What does she want? Before Arya could answer, another text came through. He destroyed me. He'll destroy you too. That's what he does to women who get too close. Then another. Ask him about Elena. Arya stared at the name. Elena. Who was Elena? A fourth message. She was supposed to be his wife too. Now she's gone. Ask him what happened to her. Michael read over her shoulder. Who's Elena? I don't know. Find out. The door opened. A nurse entered, all professional smiles. Mr. Kincaid, time for your afternoon vitals? Arya stood. I should go. Arya. Michael caught her wrist. Be careful, please. Whatever you're walking into, be careful. She nodded. Left. Made it to the elevator before her hands started shaking again. In the cab back to Lucien's building, she pulled out her phone. Searched Lucien Varric Elena. The results made her stomach drop. Elena Volkov, 28, found dead in apparent suicide. The article was 3 years old. A society page story about a young woman from a prominent Russian family. She'd been dating Lucien. They were engaged. Plans for a spring wedding. Then she jumped from her apartment balcony. The article mentioned depression, struggles with mental health. But reading between the lines, there were questions. Why jump the night before signing a prenuptial agreement? Why were there defensive wounds on her arms? Why did 3 witnesses recant their statements about seeing her alone on the balcony? No charges were filed. Investigation closed. Ruled a suicide. But the comments section was full of conspiracy theories. Speculation. People who knew her insisting she wasn't suicidal. People suggesting Lucien had her killed. Arya read until her eyes burned. The cab pulled up to Lucien's building. She paid, climbed out, stood on the sidewalk staring up at the tower. Somewhere up there, a man who might have killed his last fiancée was waiting for her, and she'd signed a contract binding her to him for a year. Her phone rang, Lucien's name on the screen. She answered. Where are you? He asked. Downstairs. Come up. We need to talk. Yeah, we do. She ended the call, took the elevator up, watching the numbers climb with a sense of doom. The penthouse door was unlocked. She walked in. Lucien was standing by the windows, drink in hand, looking out at the city he partially owned. How's Michael? He asked without turning. Fine, physically. She set down her bag. We need to talk about Elena. His shoulders tensed, barely visible, but she caught it. What about her? His voice was carefully neutral. Victoria's been texting me, told me to ask about Elena. So I did. Found some interesting articles. Victoria's trying to scare you. Is it working? Arya moved closer. Tell me what happened to Elena Volkov. Lucian turned. His expression was unreadable. She killed herself. That's the official story. It's the true story. Was it? Because the internet seems to think you might have helped her off that balcony. His jaw tightened. The internet thinks a lot of things. Most of them bullshit. So tell me the truth. Were you engaged to her? Yes. Did she die the night before signing a prenup? Yes. Do you see why that looks suspicious? I see why people with nothing better to do make up conspiracy theories. He set down his drink. Elena was unstable, mentally ill. I tried to help her, put her in treatment, therapy, medication. Nothing worked. She spiraled. And one night she jumped. I wasn't there. I was at a business dinner with 20 witnesses, but people love a villain, so they decided I must have hired someone, ordered the hit, covered it up. Did you? The question hung between them, sharp and dangerous. No. His eyes held hers. I didn't love Elena. Barely knew her, honestly. It was an arranged marriage, business merger between families. But I didn't want her dead. Her suicide was inconvenient. Cost me connections in Russia, made people ask questions I didn't need them asking. So you're saying it's bad for business? I'm saying I had nothing to gain from her death and everything to lose. That's not how I operate. How do you operate? He moved closer and suddenly the space felt smaller, more dangerous. I eliminate problems, not people. People are messy. Bodies leave evidence. I'm not sloppy, Arya. If I wanted someone dead, you'd never connect it back to me. Elena's death was public, dramatic, suspicious as hell. That's not my style. The casual way he discussed murder made her skin crawl. You're not denying you've killed people. I'm not confirming it either. But I told you from the start, I'm not a good man. I've done things, ordered things, allowed things to happen. I won't pretend otherwise. And you expect me to live with that? I expect you to live with $10 million and your brother's survival. What I've done to earn that money is irrelevant. It's not irrelevant to me. Then you should have asked more questions before signing the contract. His voice hardened. You knew what I was. Maybe not the details, but you knew. The rumors, the stories, the federal investigations Michael probably found in his research. You knew and you signed anyway because you needed what I could provide. That doesn't make it right. I never said it was right. I said it was necessary. Arya's phone buzzed again. Another text from Victoria. He'll make you disappear too. Just like Elena. Just like his father. Just like everyone who gets too close to the truth. She held up the phone. She's not going to stop. Lucien read the message, expression darkening. Give me your phone. What? Your phone. Now. She handed it over. He pulled up Victoria's contact, blocked the number, then made a call. It's me, he said when someone answered. Victoria's harassing Arya. I want it stopped. Tonight. A pause. I don't care how. Make it clear there are consequences. He hung up, handed back the phone. What did you just do? Arya asked. Solved a problem. By threatening her? By reminding her that crossing me has costs. You can't just... I can. I did. It's done. He poured another drink. Victoria signed an NDA when we ended our engagement. She's violating it by contacting you. My lawyers will make that clear. If she continues, there will be financial penalties, then legal action, then other measures. Other measures meaning what? He didn't answer, didn't need to. Arya sank onto the couch, head in her hands. This is insane. All of it. I'm trapped in a penthouse with a man who might be a murderer, threatened by his psychotic ex, about to be paraded around as his wife while federal investigations circle. What the hell was I thinking? You were thinking about saving your brother. Lucien sat across from her. Not close, giving her space. That hasn't changed. He's getting treatment, real treatment, better odds than he's ever had. At what cost? 1 year of your life, that's all. 365 days, then you're free. If I survive them. You will. I protect my investments. The cold calculation in his voice should have scared her. Instead, it was almost comforting. He'd keep her safe not out of kindness, but out of self-interest, that she could understand. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Is this Arya Kincaid? A woman's voice, professional, clipped. Yes. This is Special Agent Sarah Chen, FBI. I need you to come to our field office tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We have questions about your relationship with Lucien Varick. Aria's blood turned to ice. What? Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Federal Plaza, 26th floor. Don't be late, Miss Kincaid, and don't discuss this call with Mr. Varick. If you do, that constitutes obstruction. The line went dead. Aria sat there, phone in shaking hands, staring at Lucien. What? He asked. She should tell him, should warn him. But the agent's words echoed, don't discuss this call with Mr. Varick. Nothing, she lied. Wrong number. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't push. I'm going to bed, she said. It's been a long day. Aria. He caught her wrist as she passed. Not hard, just enough to stop her. Whatever you're thinking of doing, don't. The walls are closing in. I know that. But running won't help. It'll just make you look guilty. Guilty of what? Whatever they decide to accuse you of. He released her. She walked to the bedroom, closed the door, and stood there trying to breathe. The FBI wanted to talk to her. Michael thought Lucien was a murderer. Victoria was threatening her. And in 3 days, she'd have to walk into a gala on Lucien's arm, smile for cameras, and pretend everything was perfect. Aria looked at the ring on her finger. The diamond caught light, scattering tiny rainbows. It looked like a promise. It felt like a noose. Outside, thunder rumbled. The storm that had been building was finally here, and she was standing directly in its path with nowhere left to run. Aria didn't sleep. She lay in the dark listening to Lucien's breathing from the couch, watching shadows move across the ceiling, her mind racing through impossible scenarios. The FBI wanted to talk. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Federal Plaza. Don't tell Lucien. But how could she not tell him? How could she walk into a federal building, sit across from agents, answer questions about a man she barely knew? A man who might be exactly what Michael's research suggested, without warning him first? And if she did tell him, what then? Would he coach her? Threaten her? Make her disappear like Elena? Her phone screen said 3:47 a.m. when she finally gave up on sleep. She grabbed it, scrolled through the articles about Elena again, looking for something she'd missed, some detail that would prove Lucien innocent, or prove him guilty. The pictures of Elena showed a beautiful woman, dark hair, haunted eyes, even in the society photos where she smiled. There was one image from a charity gala. Elena in a silver dress, Lucien's hand on her waist, the same way he'd touched Aria for their engagement photos. The same possessive placement, the same calculated distance. Aria zoomed in on Elena's face, tried to see fear there, coercion, desperation. But all she saw was exhaustion. Can't sleep? She jumped, nearly dropping the phone. Lucien was sitting up on the couch, silhouette against the windows. Didn't mean to wake you, she said. You didn't. I don't sleep much. He stood, moved to the bar, poured water. Want some? No. He drank in silence. Lightning flashed outside, brief and bright. The storm was getting closer. What are you looking at? He asked. Aria's thumb hovered over the screen lock, but lying felt pointless now. Elena, trying to understand what happened. I told you what happened. You told me your version. It's the only version that matters. He moved closer, and she tensed. He noticed, stopped. I'm not going to hurt you, Aria. How do I know that? Because if I wanted you hurt, you'd already be hurt. He sat in a chair across from the bed, keeping distance between them. Elena's death wasn't my doing, but I understand why you don't believe that. Then help me believe it. Tell me the truth. Not the sanitized version, the real truth. Lucien was quiet for a long moment. Thunder rumbled, closer now. Elena was my father's choice, he said finally. Alliance marriage. Her family had connections in Moscow we needed. My father arranged it when I was 28, she was 25. We met exactly twice before the engagement announcement. Did you love her? I barely knew her. Love wasn't part of the equation. He leaned back, shadows obscuring his face. But I tried to make it work, took her to dinners, introduced her to my world. She hated all of it. The attention, the scrutiny, the expectations. Why didn't she leave? Her family wouldn't allow it. They needed the alliance as much as my father did. So she stayed, got more withdrawn, more depressed, started drinking, pills. I got her help. Therapist, psychiatrist, rehab. Nothing stuck. Lightning flashed again. In the brief light, Arya saw his face, tight, controlled, but something else underneath. Regret, maybe. Or guilt. The night she died, he continued, we'd had a fight about the prenup. She didn't want to sign it, said it made her feel like property. I told her that's exactly what she was, a transaction, currency in a business deal. His voice went flat. She slapped me. I left. Went to a dinner meeting, had 20 witnesses place me there from 8 p.m. to midnight. Elena jumped at 11:45. How do you know the exact time? Security footage. Building cameras caught her on the balcony, alone. She stood there for 17 minutes. Then she climbed over the railing. He paused. No one pushed her. No one was there. She did it herself. Then why do people think you're responsible? Because I am responsible. Not legally, but morally? Absolutely. His hands gripped the armrests. I broke her, slowly, systematically, treated her like an asset instead of a person. She was drowning, and I handed her weights instead of a rope. The admission hung in the air, raw and ugly. Is that what you're doing to me? Arya asked quietly. I don't know yet. His honesty was brutal. I'm trying not to, but I'm not wired for kindness, Arya. I'm wired for control. And sometimes I don't see the damage until it's already done. She wanted to hate him, should hate him, but the self-awareness in his voice made it complicated. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Because tomorrow starts the performance. The gala, the cameras, the lies. Once we step into that world, we can't have conversations like this anymore. Too many people watching, listening. He stood. So if you have questions, ask them now, while we're still just two people in a room instead of a spectacle. Arya thought about the FBI, about Agent Chen's call, about walking into Federal Plaza in 5 hours. She should tell him. She didn't. What happened to your father? She asked instead. Lucian's expression closed off. He had a heart attack. Michael found articles suggesting it was convenient timing. Michael's been busy. Was it convenient? He was going to testify in a federal case, implicate me in things I'd rather not be implicated in. Then he died. Make of that what you will. Did you kill him? The question was direct, brutal. She watched his face for reaction. He smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. If I did, I'd never tell you, and you'd never prove it. So what does it matter? It matters to me. Why? You took my money knowing what I might be, knowing the risks. Why does confirmation change anything? Because it made it real, made her complicit, made her something worse than desperate, made her willingly aligned with a monster. But she couldn't say that. Couldn't admit that some part of her had been hoping he was just ruthless, not evil. That the rumors were exaggeration, that she could survive this year without losing her soul. I need to know who I'm tied to, she said. You're tied to a man who will keep you safe, keep his promises, and let you walk away with everything I offered when this is done. That's all you need to know. Thunder crashed, so loud it rattled the windows. The storm was here. Get some sleep, Lucy said. Tomorrow's going to be brutal. He returned to the couch. Arya lay back down, staring at the ceiling while rain began to hammer the glass. At 5 a.m., she gave up, showered, dressed in clothes that wouldn't stand out, jeans, sweater, jacket, left a note on the kitchen counter, going for a walk, need air. The building was dead quiet. She took the elevator down, nodded at the night security guard, stepped out into rain that soaked through her jacket in seconds. The streets were empty. Manhattan in the pre-dawn rain belonged to delivery trucks and insomniacs. Arya walked without direction, just needing to move. To think. Federal Plaza was 15 blocks away. She could walk there, show up early, get it over with, or she could run, disappear into the city, break the contract, lose everything. Michael would die. But she wouldn't be complicit in whatever Lucian was building. Her feet carried her toward Federal Plaza anyway, like they'd made the choice without consulting her brain. The building was modern, imposing, American flags whipping in the wind. She stood across the street, rain running into her eyes, watching early shift agents filter through security. Her phone buzzed. Text from Lucian. Where are you? She typed back. Couldn't sleep. Walking. In this weather? Needed to clear my head. Come back. We need to go over talking points for tonight. Tonight, the gala, where she'd be paraded in front of Manhattan's elite, wearing a designer dress and a fake smile, playing the role of loving fiancée, where FBI agents might be watching, taking notes, building a case. Be back in an hour, she sent. She didn't wait for a response. Crossed the street, entered the building. Security was tight. Metal detectors. ID check. She gave her name. The guard made a call, nodded, handed her a visitor badge. 26th floor, Agent Chen is expecting you. The elevator ride up felt like descending into water, pressure building, air getting thin. The 26th floor was standard government. Fluorescent lights, beige walls, people in suits moving with purpose. A receptionist directed her to a conference room at the end of the hall. Agent Sarah Chen was waiting inside. Mid-30s, Asian American, wearing a gray suit and an expression that gave nothing away. She stood when Arya entered. Miss Kincaid, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? Everyone has a choice. Chen gestured to a chair. Please, sit. Arya sat. The chair was uncomfortable, probably intentionally. Chen took the seat across from her, set a folder on the table between them. I'll be direct, Chen said. We've been investigating Lucian Varick for 3 years. Money laundering, racketeering, connections to organized crime. We've built a circumstantial case, but nothing concrete. Nothing that would stick in court. Why are you telling me this? Because you're about to marry him, which makes you either a victim or an accomplice. I'm trying to determine which. Arya's pulse hammered. I'm not involved in his business. Maybe not yet, but you will be. Wives have access, see things, hear things. Chen opened the folder, pulled out photos. Lucienne at various locations, restaurants, office buildings, private airstrips, always with different people, always looking carefully neutral. These are his known associates, Russian mob, Chinese triads, Mexican cartels. He's a facilitator, moves money for people who can't move it themselves, takes a cut, gets rich. You can't prove any of that. Not yet, but we will. And when we do, everyone connected to him goes down, including you. The threat was clear. Arya forced herself to breathe. What do you want from me? Cooperation. You're about to have access we've never had, living in his home, seeing his files, meeting his associates. You could be an asset. You want me to spy on him. I want you to help us stop a criminal enterprise that's responsible for trafficking, murder, and corruption on an international scale. Chen leaned forward. Or you can marry him, look the other way, and become complicit in everything he does. Your choice. And if I help you, what do I get? Immunity, protection, a clean slate when this is over. And my brother? What about him? Lucien's paying for his medical treatment. If I betray Lucien, that ends. My brother dies. Chen was quiet for a moment. We might be able to arrange something. Medical care through witness protection. Might? It's not guaranteed, but it's possible. Arya laughed, bitter. So my options are, betray the man who's saving my brother and maybe get help from you, or stay loyal and become a criminal. Great choices. I understand this is difficult. You don't understand shit. Arya stood. My brother is dying. I made a deal to save him. You're asking me to break that deal on a maybe, on a possibility, on your word that you'll help. We would help. Like you helped Elena Volkov? The words were out before Arya could stop them. Chen's expression flickered. What do you know about Elena? I know she's dead. I know there were questions. I know the investigation went nowhere because Varick covered his tracks, like he always does. Chen stood too. Miss Kincaid, I'm trying to save your life. Elena didn't cooperate with us. She stayed loyal to him, and she ended up on a sidewalk. The official report says suicide. The official report says what powerful men want it to say. Chen pulled out a business card, slid it across the table. Think about what I'm offering. You have my number. When you're ready to do the right thing, call me. Arya looked at the card, bold text, federal seal, a lifeline or a trap. She picked it up, pocketed it. I need to go, she said. One more thing. Chen's voice stopped her at the door. Tonight at the gala, we'll have people there watching. If you want to signal that you're ready to cooperate, wear red. What? Red dress, red lipstick, anything red. That's the signal. We'll approach you, make contact, start the process. And if I don't wear red, then we'll know where you stand, and we'll adjust our strategy accordingly. The threat wasn't subtle. Arya left without responding, took the elevator down, stepped back into rain that felt colder now. Her phone was ringing. Lucien again. She answered. I'm on my way back. Where were you? His voice was sharp. Security said you left the building at 5:14. It's almost 8. I told you, walking. For 3 hours. In the rain. Is that a crime? Silence. Then, where are you right now? She looked around. Federal Plaza was 2 blocks behind her. Near Union Square. Stay there. I'm sending the car. I can take the subway. Stay. There. He hung up. Arya stood on the corner, soaked through, Agent Chen's card burning a hole in her pocket. 10 minutes later, the black car pulled up. The driver got out, opened the door without speaking. The ride back was silent. When they pulled into the underground garage, Lucien was waiting by the elevator. Arms crossed, face dark. Get upstairs, he said. Lucien, now! She went. He followed. The elevator ride was suffocating. When the doors opened to the penthouse, he gestured her inside. Where were you really? He asked. I told you. Don't lie to me. He moved closer. Not threatening, but not casual either. You left before dawn, walked for 3 hours. In a storm. Security footage shows you heading toward Federal Plaza. Her blood froze. You're tracking me? I'm protecting my investment. Answer the question. Where were you? The lie formed. Easy. Practiced. I was just walking. Needed to think. But looking at him, at the barely controlled rage in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders, she knew he wouldn't accept it. The FBI called me yesterday, she said. Wanted to talk. I went. The silence was deafening. Lucien's expression went absolutely flat. You what? An agent named Chen. She called. Said to come in this morning. Said not to tell you. And you listened to her. She's FBI. What was I supposed to do? You were supposed to tell me immediately. His voice was quiet, controlled, which somehow made it worse. What did you tell them? Nothing. I didn't know anything to tell. What did they ask? About your businesses, your associates, whether I'd help them. Help them how? Arya pulled out the card, held it up. They want me to spy on you, feed them information, wear red to the gala tonight if I agree to cooperate. Lucien took the card, looked at it, then very deliberately tore it in half. You're not going to the gala. What? It's too dangerous. If they're this aggressive, they're desperate. Desperate prosecutors make mistakes. You'll stay here where I can protect you. I can't just not show up. People will ask questions. I'll handle the questions. Lucien, listen to yourself. You're keeping me prisoner. I'm keeping you alive. He threw the torn card on the floor. Elena cooperated with the FBI. Did Chen tell you that? They approached her 6 months before she died. Offered immunity, protection, everything. She wore a wire to 2 meetings, got recordings. Then someone found out. Arya's mouth went dry. Found out how? Leak. Informant. Doesn't matter. Point is, her cooperation got her killed. You said she killed herself. She did. Because she knew what happened to informants. Knew the people my father worked with don't forgive betrayal. She jumped rather than wait for them to come for her. The room spun. Arya grabbed the back of a chair for support. So you're saying if I cooperate, I die? I'm saying cooperation is suicide. The FBI can't protect you. They can offer witness protection, new identities, 24-hour security. But my world is global. The people I'm connected to have reach into places the FBI doesn't. If you betray me, you sign your death warrant. And probably Michael's, too. They threatened that. Said I'd be complicit. You are complicit. The moment you accepted my money, moved into this apartment, put on that ring. In the eyes of the law, you're already an accomplice. He moved to the windows, hands behind his back. The difference is, on my side, you survive. On theirs, you become a target for every organization with a grudge against me. So I'm trapped. You were always trapped. You just didn't realize it until now. Arya sank into the chair. Her hands were shaking again. Hadn't stopped shaking since yesterday. What do I do? Her voice came out small. Tonight, you wear the dress Dominique picked, whatever color it is. You smile for the cameras, you hold my hand. You play the role perfectly. He turned. And if Chen or any of her people approach you, you say nothing, not a word. You find me immediately. They'll know I'm not cooperating. Good. Let them know. Let them understand you're off limits. What if they arrest me? Force me to testify? They won't. They have nothing. This whole play is desperation. They're hoping you'll panic, make a mistake, give them something they can use. Don't. He made it sound simple, but Arya's mind was racing through scenarios, federal agents watching her every move, Lucian's enemies waiting for a sign of betrayal, Michael in a hospital bed depending on her to keep the money flowing. I need to see my brother, she said. No. Lucien. Not today. Not until after the gala. Visiting him now sends the wrong message, makes you look scared, vulnerable. We can't afford that. I don't care about messages. He's my brother. And he'll still be your brother tomorrow, after we make this appearance, after we show strength. Lucien's voice gentled slightly. I know this is hard, but you have to trust me. I've survived federal investigations before. I'll survive this one, and so will you. But only if you follow my lead. Trust him. The man who maybe killed his father, who definitely destroyed Elena, who bought Arya like property. But what choice did she have? Fine, she said. I'll do it your way. For now. Good. He checked his watch. Dominique will be here in an hour. PR team at 2. We leave for the gala at 7. Between now and then, you don't leave this apartment. You don't answer calls from unknown numbers. You don't speak to anyone I haven't approved. I'm a prisoner. You're protected. There's a difference. He walked away, phone to his ear, already making calls. Arya sat there in wet clothes, watching rain streak the windows, wondering when exactly she'd stopped being a person and become a chess piece. Her phone buzzed. Text from Michael. Haven't heard from you. Everything okay? She started to type a response. Stopped. What could she say? The FBI wants me to betray Lucien. Lucien says that'll get us both killed. I'm about to walk into a gala wearing whatever color dress proves I'm choosing him over the law. Everything's great. She typed, fine. Busy with wedding planning. Talk soon. The lie tasted like ash. Dominique arrived with 3 garment bags and an assistant. They transformed the dining room into a temporary dressing area. Mirrors, lights, makeup cases. Let's see what we're working with, Dominique said, unzipping the first bag. The dress that emerged was midnight blue. Deep, dark, elegant. Not red. Relief flooded through Arya. Not red meant not cooperating, meant staying loyal to Lucien, meant survival. Or did it? Maybe Dominique had chosen blue randomly. Maybe it meant nothing. Try it on, Dominique ordered. Arya changed behind a screen. The dress was silk, cut to emphasize what little curves she had, with a neckline that suggested without revealing. It fit perfectly. Good, Dominique said when Arya emerged. Now sit. We fix your face. The next 2 hours were mechanical. Makeup applied and removed and reapplied. Hair curled, pinned, sprayed. Jewelry selected. Diamonds that probably cost more than her old apartment building. She looked in the mirror and saw a stranger. Polished. Perfect. Empty. You'll do, Dominique said. It wasn't a compliment. The PR team arrived as Dominique left. More drilling on talking points. More instructions on body language. How to smile. When to laugh. What questions to deflect. Remember, Derek said, tonight is about projection. You're happy, in love, excited for your future. Any hesitation, any doubt, people will pounce. What about the FBI? Arya asked. If agents are there, don't engage, don't acknowledge. If someone you don't know tries to talk to you alone, find Lucien immediately. Derek closed his laptop. They're fishing. Don't take the bait. At 6:45, Lucien emerged from his office wearing a tuxedo that probably cost 5 figures. He looked at Arya, really looked, and something flickered in his expression. You look beautiful, he said. It should have been a compliment. Instead, it felt like confirmation. She looked the part. Acceptable. Worth displaying. Thanks, she said. The car was waiting downstairs. They rode in silence through Manhattan toward the venue, some historic building in Midtown, all marble columns and old money. Camera flashes started before they even got out of the car. "Remember," Lucian said quietly, his hand finding hers, "we're in love. We're happy. Nothing else exists." The door opened. Shouting erupted. "Lucien, over here! Arya, this way! When's the wedding? How did you propose?" Lucien's hand tightened on hers. They moved through the gauntlet of photographers, his body shielding hers from the worst of it. He smiled for the cameras, practiced, perfect, entirely fake. Arya tried to match it, tried to look like a woman in love instead of a woman drowning. Inside, the gala was exactly what she'd expected. Crystal chandeliers, string quartet, people wearing more money than most families made in years. They all turned when Lucien entered. Some smiled, some didn't, but everyone watched. "Lucien." A man approached, 50-something, silver hair, expensive suit. "Congratulations. I heard about the engagement." "Thank you, Marcus." Lucien's hand moved to Arya's waist. "This is Arya. Arya Marcus Chen. He runs Chen Industries." Marcus Chen, related to Agent Sarah Chen. Arya searched his face for resemblance, found none. "Pleasure," Marcus said, shaking her hand. His grip was firm, assessing. "You're a lucky woman." "Am I?" The words came out before she could stop them. Marcus's eyebrows rose. Lucian's hand tightened on her waist. Warning. "What I mean," Arya recovered quickly, "is he's the lucky one, getting stuck with me." The joke fell flat. Marcus smiled anyway, polite and empty. They moved through the crowd, Lucian introducing her to an endless parade of wealthy strangers. Each conversation felt like a test. Each smile felt like a lie. Halfway through the evening, Arya excused herself to the bathroom. Needed air, space, 5 minutes without performing. The bathroom was empty. She locked herself in a stall, pressed her palms against the cool metal door, and tried to breathe. The door to the bathroom opened. Heels clicked on tile. "Arya?" A woman's voice. Familiar. Arya froze. "I know you're in here. We need to talk." She opened the stall door. Agent Sarah Chen stood there, wearing a black dress and a wire that was probably hidden, but definitely present. "You wore blue," Chen said. "I take it that's your answer." "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't play stupid. You chose him. Fine. But you should know what you're choosing." Chen pulled out her phone, showed Arya a photo. "Recognize this?" The image showed Lucien at what looked like a warehouse, with 3 men Arya didn't recognize. In the background, visible through a doorway, were stacks of something, cash maybe, or drugs. Hard to tell. "This was taken 6 months ago," Chen said, "meeting with known associates of the Volkov family, Russian mob, the same family Elena came from. Want to guess what they were discussing?" Arya's mouth was dry. "No. Distribution routes? Money laundering channels? How to move product through legitimate businesses." Chen swiped to another photo. "This is a ledger we seized from a shell company, Varick's signature at the bottom, authorizing transactions we've traced back to human trafficking." "I don't believe you." "You don't have to, but it's true. The man you're protecting, the man you're choosing, is responsible for suffering on a scale you can't imagine." Chen put away the phone. "Last chance, Arya. Help us bring him down, or become everything he touches." "And if I help you, what happens to my brother?" "We'll make arrangements." "Stop lying." Arya's voice shook. "You can't guarantee anything. You admitted that. You want me to risk everything on a maybe. I want you to do the right thing." "The right thing gets me and Michael killed. You said it yourself. Leaks happen. Informants get exposed. Elena cooperated and ended up dead." "We don't know for certain Varick was involved. Don't you? Or do you just need proof you'll never get because he's too careful?" Arya moved toward the door. "I'm done with this conversation." "Wait!" Chen blocked her path. "If you won't help us voluntarily, we can compel you. Subpoena. Grand jury. You'd have to testify. Then do it. Drag me into court. Make it public. See what happens. You'll go to prison for obstruction. Maybe. But my brother will live, and that's all that matters." She pushed past Chen out of the bathroom, back into the party where music played and people danced and everything was a lie. Lucien found her immediately. What happened? Nothing. Needed air. His eyes searched her face. Arya, dance with me, she said. Not a question, a demand. He led her to the floor. His hand settled on her waist, hers on his shoulder. They moved together like they'd done this before, like they were actually a couple instead of a transaction. Chen was in the bathroom, Arya said quietly. Lucien's jaw tightened, but his movements didn't falter. What did she say? Showed me photos, made threats, offered one last chance to cooperate. And? I told her no. Told her to subpoena me if she wants testimony. Something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe, or satisfaction. Good, he said. That was the right choice. Was it? Because it doesn't feel right. It feels like choosing between drowning and burning. Sometimes those are the only options. His hand tightened slightly. But you chose. That matters. The song ended. Another began. They kept dancing because stopping meant facing reality. Across the room, Arya caught movement. A woman watching them. Blonde hair. Familiar face. Victoria. She was wearing red. Blood red. Looking directly at Arya with a smile that promised violence. She's here, Arya said. Lucien didn't need to ask who. Ignore her. She's staring. Let her stare. She's irrelevant. But Victoria was moving now, crossing the floor, people parting for her like she was royalty. She stopped in front of them. Lucien? How domestic. Victoria. His voice was ice. You weren't invited. Crash weddings, crash galas, I'm versatile. Her eyes found Arya. And you, the blushing bride. How's married life treating you? We're not married yet. Give it time, you'll hate it. Victoria's smile sharpened. Did he tell you about the prenup? The clauses? What happens if you try to leave? We need to go, Lucien said, already moving. But Victoria caught Arya's arm. Her grip was surprisingly strong. Ask him about the offshore accounts, the shell companies, the people who disappear when they become inconvenient. Let go of her, Lucien said. Or what? You'll make me disappear too? Victoria leaned in close. You think you're different, special, that he'll actually care about you, but you're just another transaction, another asset, and when you're no longer useful, Lucien's hand shot out, grabbed Victoria's wrist, twisted it until she released Arya with a gasp. His face was absolutely calm. His voice was a whisper. Touch her again, and I'll forget we were ever engaged, forget I have any reason to show you mercy. He released her. Victoria stumbled back, cradling her wrist. This isn't over, she said. It is. You just don't know it yet. He guided Arya away through the crowd toward the exit. People were staring now. Whisper already spreading. In the car, silence pressed down like weight. Arya's hands were shaking again. Lucien's were perfectly still on his thighs. I'm sorry, she said finally. For what? Causing a scene. You didn't cause anything. Victoria did, and she'll pay for it. How? He didn't answer. Back at the penthouse, Arya kicked off the heels that had been killing her feet for hours, pulled pins from her hair, watched it fall around her shoulders. Lucien poured himself a drink, downed it, poured another. That went well, he said. Dark humor. Did it? No, but it could have gone worse. He looked at her. You did good tonight, holding your ground with Chen, staying calm with Victoria. I know it wasn't easy. None of this is easy. I know. Arya moved to the windows. The storm had passed. The city glittered, cleaned by rain. What happens now? She asked. Now we wait. See how the FBI responds. See if Victoria makes another move. See if we survive the fallout. And if we don't? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he crossed to where she stood, stopped beside her, close but not touching. If we don't, he said, at least you went down fighting instead of drowning quietly. There's honor in that. I don't want honor. I want my brother to live and this year to end. Then we make sure both happen. His phone rang. He glanced at it, frowned, answered. Yes? A pause. His expression went dark. When? Another pause. I'm on my way. He ended the call. What? Arya asked. There's been an incident at one of my warehouses. Fire, possibly arson. You have to go. Yes, he hesitated. I don't like leaving you alone. Not after tonight. I'll be fine. I'll lock the door, set the alarm, hide under the bed if necessary. He almost smiled. I'll have security outside. Call me if anything feels wrong. Lucien? She caught his arm as he turned. Be careful. He looked at where her hand rested on his sleeve, then at her face. I'm always careful, he said. Then he was gone. Arya stood alone in the penthouse, the silence deafening after hours of noise. She changed into pajamas, washed off makeup that suddenly felt like war paint, tried to sleep. Couldn't. Her phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. The warehouse fire was a warning. Next time it won't be property. V. Arya's blood froze. She screenshot the message, forwarded it to Lucien. His response came immediately. Don't engage, I'm handling it. But how? How did you handle someone bent on destruction? Another text. Different unknown number. You made your choice tonight. Blue instead of red. I hope it was worth it. SC Agent Chen. Reminding Arya exactly what she'd chosen, and who she'd chosen. Arya turned off her phone, climbed into bed, pulled the covers over her head like she was a child again hiding from monsters. Except the monsters were real now, and she'd invited them in. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, Arya lay in darkness, feeling the weight of decisions she couldn't take back. The year had barely started, and already everything was burning. Arya woke to the smell of smoke, not the acrid chemical burn of a warehouse fire miles away. This was closer. In the building, maybe in the apartment. She bolted upright, heart hammering. The bedroom was dark, no visible flames, but the scent was unmistakable. Sharp. Wrong. The clock read 3:17 a.m. Lucien wasn't back yet. She grabbed her phone, turned it on despite her earlier decision to leave it off. 11 missed calls. All from Lucien. The most recent was 4 minutes ago. She called back. It rang twice before he answered. Where are you? His voice was rough, urgent. In the bedroom. Lucien, I smell smoke. Get out. Now. Don't use the elevator. Take the stairs. Go to the lobby and wait for my driver. What's happening? Someone set a fire in the mechanical room. Sprinklers should contain it, but I'm not taking chances. Move. Now. The line went dead. Arya didn't waste time asking questions. She pulled on jeans over her pajama pants, grabbed a hoodie, shoved her feet into sneakers. Her hands fumbled with the laces, shaking too hard to tie them properly. The apartment door opened to a hallway filling with haze. Not thick smoke yet, but enough to make her eyes water. Emergency lights strobed red. An alarm shrieked. She ran for the stairwell, yanked open the door. The concrete stairs spiraled down into darkness, punctuated by emergency lighting. Her footsteps echoed. Breath came in gasps, from fear or exertion, she couldn't tell. 42 floors. She'd never make it running. She made it. Legs burning, lungs screaming, she burst into the lobby. Other residents were there, confused, angry, some in bathrobes. Security was herding people outside. Everyone out, a guard shouted. Fire department's on the way. This is not a drill. Arya pushed through the crowd, out onto the street. Fire trucks were already arriving, sirens wailing. Firefighters in heavy gear moved with practiced efficiency. Lucien's car pulled up to the curb. The driver jumped out, opened the back door. Get in, miss. She climbed in. The driver pulled away before she'd fully closed the door, navigating around emergency vehicles with alarming speed. Where are we going? She asked. Safe house, Mr. Varick's orders. What about him? He'll meet you there. They drove through empty streets, Manhattan at its most honest. Stripped of crowds and pretense, just buildings and lights and the occasional taxi. Arya watched the city slide past, her mind struggling to process. Someone had set a fire. In Lucien's building. While she was inside. Victoria's text echoed, next time it won't be property. 15 minutes later, they pulled up to a different building. Smaller. Older. Unremarkable brownstone in a neighborhood Arya didn't recognize. The driver led her inside, up 2 flights of stairs, into an apartment that was furnished but felt unlived in. Safe house, he'd said. A place to hide when the primary location was compromised. Wait here, the driver said. Mr. Varek will arrive shortly. Don't open the door for anyone else. He left. The locks engaged, multiple deadbolts, chain, something electronic that beeped. Arya stood in the middle of the living room, still smelling smoke on her clothes, and tried to make sense of anything. Her phone rang. Michael. She answered. Hey, are you okay? His voice was panicked. I saw the news. Fire at Lucien's building. They're saying possible arson. Where are you? I'm fine. I got out. I'm somewhere safe. Arya, this is insane. People are trying to kill you. They're trying to scare me. There's a difference. For how long? Until the scare tactics actually kill you? He was breathing hard. Please, walk away, right now, before this gets worse. I can't. We've been through this. Then I'm checking myself out of the hospital. If you won't save yourself, I'm not going to sit here getting treatment paid for by a man who's putting you in danger. Michael, don't! I mean it. I'll sign the discharge papers today. Let the cancer do what it's going to do. At least I won't die knowing I let you sacrifice yourself. Stop. Her voice cracked. Please stop. You're not checking out. You're staying there. You're getting better. That's the whole point of this. The point was to save me, not to get you killed. I'm not going to die. You don't know that. Elena didn't think she'd die either. The comparison hit like a fist. Arya sank onto the couch, phone pressed to her ear, tears burning her eyes. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm so scared, Michael, but I don't know what else to do. Every option ends badly. If I stay, I might die. If I leave, you definitely die. How do I choose that? You choose yourself. For once in your life, you choose yourself. I don't know how. She heard him crying now, quiet, trying to hide it. I love you, he said, more than anything, and I can't protect you anymore. I'm too weak, too sick. So I need you to protect yourself. Please, Arya, please. I love you too, she said, and I'm going to fix this, somehow. I promise. She hung up before he could argue, before she could hear the desperation in his voice and break completely. The door locks disengaged. Lucien entered, moving fast, phone to his ear. He was covered in soot, his shirt was torn, blood crusted on his knuckles. He saw her, ended his call without saying goodbye. Are you hurt? He asked. No. Are you? Nothing serious. He moved to the kitchen, ran water over his hands. The sink turned red. The fire's contained, minimal damage. Everyone got out. Was it Victoria? Probably. We'll know for sure once fire investigators finish, but the accelerant pattern suggests amateur arson, which fits her profile. He dried his hands roughly. She's escalating, getting sloppy. That makes her dangerous. What are we going to do? We are going to stay here until I neutralize the threat. You specifically are going to stay put and not do anything stupid. Define stupid. Leaving this apartment, contacting anyone I haven't cleared, making decisions without consulting me. He pulled out his phone, showed her something. I'm having Victoria picked up, questioned, made to understand the consequences of crossing me. Picked up by who? The police? People who work for me. Lucien, you can't just kidnap. I can do whatever's necessary to protect what's mine. His eyes held hers. And whether you like it or not, you're mine right now. That contract you signed makes you my responsibility, which means I will do whatever it takes to keep you safe. The possessiveness should have terrified her. Instead, it was almost comforting. Someone was fighting for her survival, even if that someone was a criminal. What about the FBI? She asked. They'll use this. Say you're involved in organized crime, burning buildings, intimidating witnesses. Let them say it. They still can't prove it. He moved to the window, looked out at the street. Chen is running out of time. Her investigation has been open for 3 years with nothing to show. Her supervisors are getting impatient. She's desperate. That's why she approached you. Last-ditch effort to flip someone on the inside. She showed me photos. You with Russian mob, ledgers with your signature. I'm sure she did. All carefully selected to look incriminating out of context. He turned. I do business with people from various backgrounds. Some of them have criminal connections. That doesn't make me a criminal. It makes me a businessman operating in the real world where money doesn't care about moral purity. That's semantics. That's reality. I've never been charged with anything, never been convicted, because I'm careful. I operate within gray areas that prosecutors can't definitively call illegal. He moved closer. You want me to be a monster? It would make this easier, but I'm not. I'm just a man who learned early that the world doesn't reward kindness. It rewards strength, control, the willingness to do what others won't. You sound like you're trying to convince yourself. His jaw tightened. Maybe I am. Her phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Against her better judgment, she checked it. Your brother looks peaceful when he sleeps. V. Ice flooded her veins. She's at the hospital. Lucian read the text over her shoulder. His expression went absolutely cold. Call hospital security, he said, already dialing. Tell them to lock down Michael's floor. No visitors except approved medical staff. Arya's hands shook as she pulled up the hospital's number. It rang 4 times before someone answered. Metropolitan General, how may I direct your call? Security, now. It's an emergency. The transfer took forever. Finally, a gruff voice came on the line. Security, this is Daniels. This is Arya Kincaid. My brother Michael is a patient in room 503. Someone just threatened him. I need you to lock down his floor immediately. No one in or out except hospital staff. Ma'am, I'll need to verify. There's no time to verify. Someone is there right now, please. She heard keyboard clicks, muttered conversation with someone else. We're sending officers to the 5th floor now. Can you describe the individual who made the threat? Blonde, late 20s. Her name is Victoria Ashford. She's dangerous. More clicking. We have someone matching that description on camera from 18 minutes ago. Entered through the main entrance, took the elevator to 5. A pause. She's not showing up on current camera feeds. Where is she? Unknown. Cameras have blind spots. We're checking. Hold on. The line went silent. Arya looked at Lucian. He was on his own phone, speaking in rapid Russian, giving orders. His face was a mask of controlled fury. Miss Kincaid? The security guard was back. We've located the individual. She was outside your brother's room but left when she saw our officers approaching. We've locked down the floor. Your brother is safe. Relief made her dizzy. Thank you. Can you keep him under guard? Until we know she's gone? Already done. We've also notified NYPD. They're sending units to collect her for trespassing. Arya ended the call, sank onto the couch. She was in his room, but she didn't hurt him, Lucian said, because she knows that would cross a line even she can't uncross. Killing is permanent. Threatening is reversible. You're saying she won't actually hurt him. I'm saying she wants to scare you into leaving me. Hurting Michael doesn't accomplish that. It just gives me justification to retaliate without limits. So this is all a game, psychological warfare. Everything is a game. The question is whether you know the rules. Arya laughed, bitter, exhausted. I don't even know what board we're playing on. Lucian sat beside her, not touching, just close. I'm going to end this, he said. Tonight, Victoria will be found. She'll be given a choice, leave the country or face consequences that don't involve police. She'll take the exit, and this will be over. Just like that? Just like that. And the FBI? They'll keep investigating, find nothing, eventually move on. Chen will get reassigned or promoted somewhere else. Someone new will take over the case. The cycle continues. He looked at her. But you'll be safe. Michael will be safe. The year will pass. You'll get your money and your freedom. If I survive the year. You will. I'll make sure of it. She wanted to believe him. Wanted to trust that he had enough control to protect her from Victoria, the FBI, and whatever other threats lurked in his world. But trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. I need to see Michael, she said. Tomorrow, after things calm down. I need to see with my own eyes that he's okay. I'll arrange it. And I want the truth. About Elena. About your father. About everything you're not telling me. She turned to face him fully. If I'm risking my life for this, I deserve to know what I'm protecting. Lucian was quiet for a long time. Outside, dawn was beginning to break, the sky shifting from black to gray to pale blue. My father was a violent man, he said finally. Built his empire on intimidation and bloodshed. I learned from him how to hurt people, how to make them afraid, how to use fear as a tool. He paused. But I also learned what not to be. He enjoyed the violence, got off on it. I never did. For me, it's always been necessity, a means to an end. Did you kill him? No. But I didn't save him either. His voice was hollow. He had a heart attack in his office, alone. By the time his secretary found him, it was too late. Could I have gotten him better medical care earlier? Pushed him to see doctors? Yes. Did I? No. Because part of me knew he needed to die for me to truly control what he built. That's not the same as murder. Isn't it? Letting someone die when you could save them? How is that different from pulling the trigger? Arya didn't have an answer. Elena, Lucien continued, was collateral damage in a war I didn't start. She got caught between my world and her family's world. The Russians wanted her to spy on me. The FBI wanted her to cooperate. I just wanted her to be quiet and play her role. She couldn't handle the pressure. Broke under it. I should have seen the signs. Should have gotten her real help instead of trying to manage her like a business problem. You loved her? No. But I failed her, and that's worse. He stood, walked to the window. I failed a lot of people. Destroyed lives in service of building something I told myself mattered. Power, control, empire, all meaningless in the end. Then why keep doing it? Because it's all I know how to do. He turned. I'm good at destruction, Arya. At tearing things down and rebuilding them in my image. But creation? Building something real and lasting? I don't know if I'm capable of that. The vulnerability in his voice was startling. Arya stood, moved beside him at the window. What if you tried? She asked quietly. Tried what? Being something other than what your father made you. Building instead of destroying. It's too late for that. It's never too late. Not if you actually want to change. He looked at her, really looked, and something in his expression cracked. The mask slipping, revealing exhaustion, loneliness. A man who'd spent so long being feared that he'd forgotten how to be anything else. I don't know how, he said. So quiet she almost didn't hear it. Then learn. You're smart enough, ruthless enough. Why not be ruthless about becoming better instead of becoming more powerful? Because power is measurable. Better is subjective. That's an excuse. Maybe. He smiled, but it was sad. You're wasted on me, you know. Should be with someone who deserves that optimism. I'm not with you. I'm contracted to you. There's a difference. Is there? The question hung between them, complicated and dangerous. Arya's phone rang. Michael again. She answered. I'm okay. Everything's okay. Security just left, he said. Told me someone tried to get into my room, that you called in a threat. What the hell is happening? Victoria, Lucien's ex. She's been threatening us, but she's gone now. You're safe. For how long? Until the next psycho comes after me to get to you? His voice broke. Arya, this has to stop. It has to. It will. Soon. Lucien's handling it. Lucien is the reason it's happening. She couldn't argue with that. I'll be there in a few hours, she said. We'll talk. Face to face. Bring him with you. What? Lucien, I want to meet him. Look him in the eye. See if he's worth what you're sacrificing. Michael, if he's half the man you're pretending he is, he'll show up. If not, I'll know exactly who you've tied yourself to. He hung up. Arya looked at Lucien. My brother wants to meet you. When? Today. At the hospital. Lucien nodded. Fine, we'll go together. Just like that? He deserves to look at the man who controls his sister's life, and I deserve to look at the reason she's enduring this. He checked his watch. We'll go at noon after I've dealt with Victoria. What are you going to do to her? Nothing permanent, just persuasive. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you get. The hours crawled. Lucien made calls, gave orders, received updates. Arya tried to sleep but couldn't. Every sound made her jump. Every shadow looked like a threat. At 10 a.m., Lucien's phone rang. He answered, listened, said good, and hung up. Victoria's on a flight to London, he told Arya. One way. She won't be back. How did you convince her? I showed her evidence that she'd violated several laws last night. Arson, trespassing, terroristic threatening. Then I showed her evidence that could make those charges stick. Then I offered her an alternative. Leave the country, never contact either of us again, and I destroy the evidence. That's blackmail. That's negotiation. She took the deal. Problem solved. What if she comes back? She won't, because I also showed her what happens to people who break deals with me. His expression was unreadable. She understood. Arya didn't ask for details, didn't want to know. At 11:30, they left for the hospital. The ride was silent. Arya stared out the window, watching the city that had become her prison, or her salvation. She still wasn't sure which. The hospital lobby was familiar now. Arya knew which elevator, which floor, which turns. Michael's room looked the same, but he looked different, stronger. The treatment was working, color in his face, clarity in his eyes. He looked at Lucien the way a brother should, protective, suspicious, ready to fight if necessary. "So you're him," Michael said. "I'm him," Lucien agreed. "The man who bought my sister. The man who's keeping her and you alive. Perspective matters." Michael's jaw tightened. "Sit down, both of you." They sat. Michael stayed in bed but sat up straighter, claiming what little authority he had. "I've been doing research," Michael said, "about you, your businesses, your history. I know what people say, what they suspect." "And what do you think?" Lucien asked. "I think you're exactly as dangerous as the rumors suggest. Maybe more." Michael's eyes were hard. "But I also think you're the only reason Arya's still standing, the only reason I'm getting treatment that actually works, so I don't know what to do with you." "You don't have to do anything with me. Just get better. That's all Arya wants." "Is it? Or is that what you told her to want?" "No one tells Arya anything. She makes her own choices. Under duress, with limited options, that's not really choice." Lucien leaned back. "You're right. It's not. But it's more choice than she had before I showed up. Before me, she was drowning, working herself to death for medical bills she'd never pay off, watching you deteriorate knowing there was nothing she could do. I gave her an option. She took it. That's agency, even if it's not freedom. You're splitting hairs. I'm being honest, which is more than most people in my position would be." Michael looked at Arya. "Do you love him?" The question froze her. "What?" "Simple question. Do you love him?" "It's a contract. Love isn't part of it." "That's not what I asked." Arya's throat tightened. She looked at Lucien, at the man who'd saved her brother, controlled her life, revealed vulnerabilities he probably regretted. Did she love him? She barely knew him, didn't trust him, was terrified of him. But somewhere in the past week, something had shifted. Dependence had become familiarity. Fear had become understanding. She didn't love him, but she didn't hate him either, and that complexity was almost worse than simple hatred. "I don't know," she said finally. "Ask me in a year." Michael nodded slowly. "And you?" He looked at Lucien. "Do you care about her? At all? Or is she really just property to you?" Lucien was quiet. When he spoke, his voice was careful, measured. "I care about keeping her safe, about fulfilling my obligations, about making sure she survives this year intact." He paused. "Whether that constitutes caring about her as a person or caring about her as an investment, I honestly can't tell anymore. The lines are blurred." "That's a bullshit answer." "It's an honest one." They stared at each other, two men who both loved Arya in different ways, trying to figure out if they could coexist. "1 year," Michael said finally. "You keep her safe for 1 year. Keep me alive. Then let her go with everything you promised. Do that, and we're good. And if I don't, then I'll find a way to destroy you, even if it kills me, even if it's the last thing I do." The threat should have been laughable, a dying man threatening a billionaire criminal. But Lucien didn't laugh. "Fair enough," he said. They shook hands, brief, firm, a pact between men who understood that love sometimes looked like violence. Arya watched them, feeling like a commodity being traded, but also feeling something else. Relief. That the two most important men in her life weren't at war, that Michael had given his grudging approval, that maybe, possibly, this could actually work. A nurse entered. "Mr. Kincaid, time for your infusion." Arya kissed Michael's forehead. "I'll call you tonight." "Be safe," he said. "You too." Outside the hospital, Lucien's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression darkening. "When?" A pause. "I'll be there in 20 minutes." He hung up, turned to Arya. The FBI just raided my primary office, seized computers, files, everything. Chen's making her move. Can they do that? With a warrant, yes. Which means a judge signed off, which means they have something. His jaw clenched. Or they think they do. What now? Now I go deal with it. You go back to the safe house. I want to come with you. No. Lucien, this isn't negotiable. If they're raiding my office, they might try to grab you for questioning. I need you somewhere they can't find you. For how long? However long it takes. The driver took her back to the safe house. Lucien went to war with federal prosecutors. Arya sat in the quiet apartment, watching news coverage on her phone. The raid was everywhere. Footage of FBI agents carrying boxes out of Vorik Enterprises headquarters. Talking heads speculating about charges. Chen giving a brief statement to press. We've obtained evidence of financial crimes spanning multiple years and jurisdictions. Mr. Vorik will have the opportunity to address these allegations in court. Arya's phone rang. Lucien. They're charging me, he said without preamble. Money laundering, racketeering, 6 counts, bail hearing tomorrow. Her stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means they're serious. It means Chen found something, or manufactured it. Either way, this is a fight.